Attention, all Ease gamers. Adol Christian is in great danger, and he needs your help to wipe out the demons in the darn tower. Now, to do this, he needs a silver armor and sword and a couple of walls crushed. So to help him, all he needs is your credit card number, 3 numbers on the back, the expiration, month, and date. But you've got to do this quick so that Adol can destroy the Black Pearl and make the epic end of battle.
Alright. You pay up for that?
No, I did not. Imagine if I did.
It is oddly specific. I asked him the same question. It is like perfect for his lecture.
Oh.
And also, by the way, this is not yet on the level of where we commissioned Chris Chan to make canon.
Oh my god.
Because that happened in the Sonichi lecture.
It was great. Sonichi lecture is so good.
Wow. Let's give claps in chat for a very well put together board that you can actually read. Yeah!
Welcome, everybody. It's the world of ease. I need to grab my notes. Can I keep them here? That'd be fine. Okay, so Ease is a series of action RPGs. Go.
Why does it start from the wrong side of the alphabet?
What do you mean? Oh, I get it. So East is a series of action RPGs developed by Falcom. It started back in 1987. I think they're sort of Zelda-like games, so we're going to talk about mostly the story. However, there's a lot of gameplay shit I want to talk about first. Well, I'll discuss specific combat systems when we get to the game that have those combat systems. But otherwise, I'm going to just discuss in general. The gameplay is sort of like Zelda, but with leveling up and more action elements. So a lot of the games that we're going to discuss today, I'll discuss like, oh, you get this item and that's cool, or you get this item and that's cool. And it's usually just used once, like in Zelda, to do one thing. In any case, let me see here if I'm missing anything. Falcom is a rather small Japanese studio. They're basically an indie studio still. And so a lot of the games are pretty like low production value, but it also means all the games are really cheap on Steam. And I think every single one of the games here will eventually or is on Steam. Except for 5. We'll talk about 5 when we get there. Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll talk about lore already. So the main character is named Adol Christin, and he's dead. Or at least he disappeared. Every single
How do
game...
you have video games if he's dead already?
What if it was all just a dream?
So Adol was an adventurer, and every game is sort of a book that he wrote or a journal entry in his travel log. So Adol's travel log is used to sort of explain where all these journeys came from, and sort of as a framing device for the whole like narrative of Ys. Go.
So, like, how much do we know about the world outside that's like framing this narrative? Like, are there any stakes to this story? Like, do we know the world's like okay?
Yeah, so the world is generally doing okay. Adol supposedly went to the North Pole at the age of 63 to explore go on an adventure one last time, and he just didn't come back. So we don't know if he's dead or if he's gone. So I assume like Falcom won't answer that question until they're absolutely sure they want to end the series. But yeah, so that's generally how it's all framed. So all of Adol's travel logs do contain information that's not contained in other like historical pieces of media, I guess, or historical entries. However, nothing contradicts the historical entries, and there's some evidence that some of the special things that happened to Adol did actually happen. But it is up in the air whether some of the things had happened.
A big shrimp strip, right?
Yeah, it's a frame story used to tell everything. Adol's travelogue is overall 100 different journals. Some of them are repeats. However, we only have the way the game is framed. We only have a certain amount of them. And we'll talk about Origin, but Origin was specifically not written by Adol, but by someone else. And we'll talk about that when we get there. Let me see. Some things. The remakes. We'll talk about the remakes real quick. So every East game came out like starting in 1987, and like they slowly started coming out for like the Super Nintendo and stuff. And 5 is still stuck to the Super Nintendo, but the rest of these are the remakes that I'll be discussing. So the reason why a bunch of the games were remade was not because Falcom can make money, because they already don't make that much money, but because when they released E6. They had decided on a hard, like, this is the lore, these are the details of the lore. And so, because of that, they went back and changed all these stories to fit more into the lore that is E6. And so, after that, like 7 and 8 and 9, those just fit in their template. Go.
So are these like retconny in nature, or are they like clarifying lore that was written like 20 years ago?
It's clarifications and make stuff fit better. It's kind of retconny. Some of the stuff changes. And we'll talk about Mask of the Sun specifically once we get to Mask of the Sun and Dawn of Ys and Memories of Celceta. But when we get there, we'll discuss that. But some of them are retconny. It's sort of justified in-world as, oh, we found more documents that have to do with Adol's adventures that clarify some things.
Oh, that's kind of
So some of the stuff is additive rather than taking stuff away. We're not like changing the mechanics of the universe here. This is a map of let me see, actually double checking something. No, we're good. All right. This is the map of the world of Ys. Generally, this is Eurasia or Erasia.
And Afroka.
Navroka. Yeah. So what you'll notice almost off the bat is that Ys has a lot of places that are just named like other places, but slightly differently, except for the Canaan Islands. I'm pretty sure those are real. Go.
Those are real. And is it Amorica with Borgers and Choi's?
Amorica is not here yet. we have not explored Amorica. Adol hasn't gone there.
There's no crossover Colombo.
Yeah, there hasn't. Yeah, we're so
No Spoin or Pop.
And really quickly, I'll also talk about, and I'll discuss these more once we get into them. But there are several factions that you'll have to deal with in East. There's Romn, which is Rome. Altago, which is this country down here. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. Europans are basically any like humans who live like here.
That sounds about right.
The Eldeen, we'll talk about that. The Clan of Darkness, we'll talk about that. Dragon Knights are the army of Altago, and we'll discuss that when we get to E7. And the Redans live on the Canaan Islands, and we'll talk about that when we get to E6. Go.
Slight lore question. Forgive me if I'm getting ahead of myself here, but are the Dragon Knights cool enough to be called fucking Dragon
I was
Knights?
going to ask the very same thing.
Are they
Some-
bad enough to save the president? I think is what we're all
Some of
asking.
them are. Some of them are. Some of them are major assholes.
But are they cool?
But are they cool?
Question.
Overall.
Kinda cool.
Kinda?
Percentage of cool.
Well, I mean, like, Adol Kristen is in the game, and we'll talk about everything that Adol does, and you'll be like, well, these guys are kind of fucking chumps. What, they fucking beat an army? Who the fuck cares? So, and we'll talk about Altago and Rom's little war in a second here. So, our main character is Adol the Red. He's called Adol the Red because he has red hair, and no one else seems to have red hair in the East series. Everyone else is, like, either has black, brown, or blue hair sometimes. You meet some blonde-haired people in East 3.
I imagine no one's called the Blue, though.
Are they called the Vokings?
No, there's no Vokings. No, we don't meet any, like, weird, like, tribes that are also named, like, the world is. But Adol the Red is our main character. He's basically an adventurer, and we'll discuss how he gets that title eventually. But he's an adventurer. By the time he died, he was like super well known. But as we talk about the series, he's starting with East 1. No one knows who he is because that's his first adventure. But as we move forward, more people and more people are going to know him. Go.
Sorry for all the questions, Professor, but just one final clarifying question. When it comes to like the Frame story, how far after his disappearance is the Frame story?
I'm not 100% sure. Really quickly, I'm going to shout out Digital MLOS. Go to digitalmlos.com. They have a ton of information on East lore. But I'm not sure exactly how far after his death the frame story occurs.
Bro, you're sponsored.
Yes, sir. I went to the website and I just found a bunch of merch with your name on it.
I am not sponsored. Digital MLS is just like the perfect. It has a lot of information about East Falcom and like the whole series. And so if
you went there instead of playing EC8.
I went there and Wikipedia. Go.
What is a wall crusher?
Okay.
we'll get to that.
Dogi the Wall Crusher. The only reason I put Wall Crusher in blue is because he has blue hair and it's weird. But Dogi the Wall Crusher is Adolf's go.
Is blue hair just code for antagonist?
No, he's not. Dogi the Wall Crusher is Adolf's best friend. He goes on every adventure with him. And so since they go on adventures all the time, sometimes he likes to. I think in East 5 he specifically asks not to go because he wants to stay home. But otherwise, Dogi's going to be with Adolf. He's called the Wall Crusher because he crushes walls. Like he literally like bores new holes into old walls.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not a meme. It's real. Emelos and God. I'll mention right now. A lot of characters in East are going to refer to other characters as gods. I need you to understand they are not omnipotent. They are just powerful beings. And we'll discuss, and specifically they're likely in LD. But we'll discuss that when we get to probably East 4. Actually, East 1 and 2 discusses that a little bit. Go.
Atheist and cringe?
Some of the characters are not atheistic, but they do want to kill God. So,
Okay.
so Nietzsche shit. So I guess we should start. So really quickly, Adol likely grew up here. It doesn't say explicitly where he grew up, but it's some sort of mountain village. When I looked at the map, this had mountains on it that I didn't put down. But it is implied that Adol's coming from here. So Adol was a young kid. He was skilled with the sword. At 17 years old, he leaves his father's house to go explore the world. And so he wanted to go to Altago in Afroka. So he wants to go here. Turns out, wrong.
I'm sorry.
Laughing at Afroka.
Over Afroka.
All right. So Adol wants to go to Altago, right? But he can't. But suddenly, while he's traveling, Rom declares war with Altago.
Oh,
and
no.
that war lasts until East 7, which happens about...
Punic Wars.
It's unironically... It might be the Punic Wars. I'm not 100% sure. It likely is.
It is the Punic Wars. I've heard this part before.
But the war doesn't stop until East 7, which I think takes place 6 years after East 1 and 2. And so East 1 and 2 is when the war starts, and East 7 is when it ends. Go.
So you've spoken at length how he became like super infamous and like well known and a man of super well reviewed as this like super cool badass awesome dude. And he did that in the space between when he was 17 and 25.
Oh yeah, he's like 24.
The fucking Beatles of adventuring.
Yeah, he like fucking it's insane. At 17, Adol
Adventures don't exactly live long, my guy.
He died at 63.
He stopped. I think he stopped like sometimes in his 30s, but yeah, he lived to 63. And although he did go to Antarctica, he went to the North Pole. He went to Antarctica. Antarctica. But he went to the North Pole, not pictured. But he went to the North Pole and then disappeared. We don't know where he is, or he's likely dead. He's likely dead.
Santa Claus, got it.
Adol the Red?
Adol the Red.
Santa wears red?
Wow, these connections are building up. In any case, so he wanted to go to Altago. Big fucking oops. Everyone's at war. If a Roman, because technically Adolf's part of the Roman Empire, goes to Altago, he likely would be killed. Okay, that's a big rough spot. So he goes and stops in Promolok, which is only pictured here because he stops here, and it's mentioned in Celceta as well. But he stops in Promolok, and they're like, hey, so this war is pretty crazy, but you want to know what's crazier? There's a storm wall all around Asteria, a little island over here. And so Adolf's like, I'm down. Let's go to the storm wall and to Asteria and figure out what the problem is. Go.
Storm wall?
Yeah, it's literally like choppy seas, thunder, downpour of rain, that surrounds the island.
And is
Kind
the island like fine, or is it just the?
When Adol gets to the island, he discovers that most of the people are safe there. They just can't export their goods, and they can't receive anything. And so Barbados, a port town that he goes to, is like completely like destroyed, or like economically, like they're really poor because they can't export any silver.
Kyle, if I hear anything out of your mouth about capitalism right now,
No, what I was wondering was, why are they poor? Because they can't export silver. It's just take the silver for yourself and.
It was their main export, and so they can't. So like internal economy is doing well, but like the island itself, they can't sell any silver.
oh, right? Because
Can't bring
silver
more
is
money.
basically
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah,
on
and
its own.
nothing can be traded in, so they have to use what's out.
So are they like starving?
No one's starving. Like it's the
Yes.
Stormwall has only been like 6 months. So like it's everything's on the precipice. Things are about to be destroyed.
All right.
People are not doing amazing, but we're not like seeing starving children.
The
and
bubble
shit.
hasn't burst yet.
Yeah, the bubble has not burst. So Adol gets on his tiny ass little boat and gets all the way to Asteria. The Stormwall destroys the boat.
Oh no.
The Stormwall destroys the boat.
No.
The Stormwall destroys the boat, and Adol is left on the shore. He gets picked up by the people of Barbados, a port town nearby. Go.
Is just the rest of the crew dead?
Adol was the only person on the boat. No one else
Oh.
wanted to go to the
Oh.
Stormwall.
So it was like a Link's Awakening
It's just
style.
like a-
Yeah.
Is it just like a skiff?
Yeah, it's like a dinghy or something. Like it's a little tiny boat.
Tied up all those.
I think it was shown
together.
in the intro, but yeah, it's not a big boat. It's basically a two-person boat
dude,
that he
let's
was.
break the storm wall, the freaking dinghy.
So Adol gets into Hysteria, basically almost dies, but you know what? He's fine. Let me see
No
here.
kidding.
Did we write this game?
So Adol gets in. Everyone's like, and so he immediately, the second he's able to, puts on his armor and starts talking to people to figure out what the fuck's going on. So he's like, "Hey, people of Hysteria, what's going on with this whole Stormwall thing?" And they're like, "Yeah, the Stormwall's bad, and we don't get like imports, but it means nothing compared to the demons that are literally outside of everything."
Yeah, the Stormwall's bad, but you know, the Hellspawn that takes our children to the
That-
is kind of
That's
just
what
like-
real.
So I'm picturing Syria, just like Berlin, 1945 to like 1990, where it's like, yeah, the wall's bad, but not as bad as starving to death, except for demons.
Yeah.
Like unironically, the people of Hysteria are like, "Yeah, it kind of sucks that we can't export our like silver and we can't receive anything in, but like we're just trying to like survive against the demons that are literally outside of every town." And so Adol's like,
Question. How long did the demons show up when the wall showed up?
yeah, at the same time.
All right.
Okay, and we'll talk about that more when we get to the lore bit.
That's
But-
all I can fit on my board. I'm done.
All right, so
Now you can pay attention.
I
To
couldn't
Merrick.
pay attention, you ass.
Merrick,
Coffee.
you're not allowed to give demerits. It's demerit.
Damn it.
Anyway,
One cannot have such power unless they stand before.
don't talk unless you're spoken to. Demerit.
Fuck.
So we go to Hysteria. Adol's like, that's kind of messed up. We gotta find a way to fix that. They're like, you wanna fix our demon problem that we've been having the last 6 months? And Adol's like, I don't know. I'm free on weekends, you know. It's like whatever. So Adol goes around. He meets. They're specifically like, hey, you should go and meet Sarah in this other bigger town in Hysteria. And Adol's like, okay, thank you. And if you'd like talk to enough people, you get like a sword. It's a side quest thing. Really quickly, when you walk to go.
Is like Hysteria like just like a loose collection of towns and stuff?
Yeah, it's like a loose collections of towns. There's one big tower that we'll talk about. But yeah, there's just a
There's not like a real big kind of
The Darn
centralized
Tower?
the
government.
Darm Tower. But yeah, it's just a loose collection of towns and people. They all rely on like silver. Like they all work in silver mines and export silver specifically. But yeah, they're all like in separate towns.
City-state-esque.
City-state-esque, yeah. Really quickly, so when you exit the first town, the game will inform you of this when you buy it and you play it. But East 1 and 2 uses bump combat. So bump combat's kind of weird because it's not exactly like you press a button and Adol attacks somebody. You literally just run into your enemies.
Like in Hydlide?
No. So in Hydlide specifically, you like press a button and then like the two attack and then you take some damage and you do some damage to the enemy. In East 1 and 2, you're moving at a fast enough pace that you have to like sort of put yourself off center to the enemy, and then as you run off center to the enemy, you sort of hit them without getting hurt. If you hit them dead on, you're gonna bounce off of them. And so if you're sort of off center with the enemy, you'll do damage to them without getting damage to yourself. So the game is really movement based. Go.
Does this play as shittily as it sounds?
No, it plays. It's actually really fun.
This sounds exactly like if you made Snake, like the shitty
Calculator game.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
If you
shitty.
made
PvP
Snake,
multiplayer.
made Snake into a
Snake
JRPG.
battle.
So
Royale.
it's more about movement. So you're just trying to like set yourself right off center of the enemy to drive through them, and then as you gain experience, obviously you do more damage and stuff. As you beat more enemies, or as you get further into the game, the enemies move faster and with more erratic movement patterns. Go.
Kind of like jousting.
Yeah, kind of like jousting. It's kind of like bumper cars almost, especially if you run into them straight on. But you take a lot of damage if you run into them straight on.
This does not sound like a compelling gameplay system.
It sounds exactly like JRPG Snake.
It's
But
fun.
yeah, you just like run off center to enemies and then they die. They explode.
Yeah,
and so-
just like in real life.
They
Yeah.
go poof.
Yeah, little and some chunks go away if you buy 1 or 2 Chronicles. Let me see here. Okay, so he goes to the town of Minia. Minia is cool because it has Sarah. Sarah's a fortune teller who I think is the descendant of a Tova, who is important, and we'll discuss that in a bit. We also meet Rhea here. She's just like a vagabond who is missing a silver harmonica, which is a weird thing that they keep bringing up. Is like townspeople are like losing silver. Like people are just stealing that shit. And so
Wait, so in this place where they can't export their silver, people are still stealing silver?
something specifically is stealing silver that we'll talk about in a bit.
What an asshole!
I'm sorry, I was so hungry.
You want?
What do you want? We have Oreo.
He was talking about that's why he's stealing silver.
Oh,
That's the
no
joke,
Wolverine
Max.
problem.
Yeah, so we have people. Yeah, someone's literally just stealing silver.
I'm gonna
You
go.
meet-
I'm gonna go use the restroom because my nose is running like a motherfucker. I'll be
Okay.
right back.
Like,
Braden's back. And also, I was just wondering about the bottom of the board. Underneath all of the games and shit, you have a bunch of different things written. Is
We'll
that
talk
like timeline shit or like the gameplay systems being used?
So
There's no
this is-
correlation there.
So this is the timeline of the games. Above is the year it came out, and then above that is the platform it came out for. And then in the timeline itself, I have each combat system that the game uses written there. And we'll talk more about the Nepishtim and Seven system when we get to the games, Memories of Celceta and Origin we'll actually cover first with the Nepishtim engine. In any case, where were we? Oh, Sarah. So we meet Sarah, who is the descendant of a priest named Tova. I'm not sure if that's explained to you initially, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so she's a fortune teller, and she realizes, oh, hey, you're Adol. You're meant to save Asteria. Oh, okay.
It's
And
really
she's like-
convenient. You walked into my door right now.
Well,
She's a
she had
fortune
predicted that Adol would come to Asteria in some form or fashion. So she's like, hey, you need to save Asteria. In order to do so, you need the 6th Book of Ys. Ys is a mystical land that no one's ever been to. We have 6 books that document its history, and I have one of them. Here you go. And so, go.
so Epic Adventure becomes Library Quest?
Hey, don't fuck with library quests. I have to go at least one a week.
Do you have to go through the store wall to get there?
Kinda.
Metaphorical store wall of disappointment. So she's basically like, hey, you need to go find the other books of Ys. I don't really know where they are. Fortune tellers. And so, what?
So if any one of these books is off the island, they're just fucked?
None of the books would be off the island.
Why?
Because they don't trade the books, and the books are... Once we find the locations of the books, you're going to be like, no one would ever take that. Unless they were Adol Christen.
Why don't the demons get the books?
I think the books are magical in nature, and so I think there are demons protecting the books. And so Adol fights some bosses, and some bosses give you the book.
So they do have the books.
So they're MacGuffins, in any case. They're MacGuffins with a purpose. So she's like, hey, you should go to the town of Zepik. 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 And talk to people there. Let me see here. So there's so at Zepik, there's a woman named Jeva who's also one of the one of the descendants of one of the priests of Ys, and she's like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing? What do you need help with?" And Adol's like, "Oh, I need to go into this shrine. I need to go to Solomon's shrine and like fight demons and do stuff." She's like, "Okay, here's a key." She just lets him in. And so you go into Solomon's shrine, and oh wait, let me see here. Oh, we need to talk about that first. So in Z-Pick as well, you'll talk to the mayor, and so the mayor is like, "Hey, someone stole our silver bell, and we know who it is."
Shut the fuck up.
So someone took our silver bell, and we don't know why. It warded off demons, and it was really great for the town. Someone stole it. We think it was the bandits. There's a group of bandits that are outside the village.
And what, they just hang out with the demons?
We'll get to that. And this group of bandits, they probably took our silver bell because they're a bunch of bandits. And so he's like, "Hey, you seem like a strong guy. Can you just like talk to them for us?" I don't know why the mayor doesn't talk to them. Probably because they're bandits. But in any case, he's like, "Adol, go talk to them." And so Adol goes over to the bandits and he's like, "Hey, have you guys stolen a silver bell from Z-Pick? They kind of need that shit." And they're like, "No, all of our silver's gone too. We only steal from the rich." It's like,
Gotten small.
we would never take from a town. It's like number one protection. Yeah, all of our silver's gone too. We don't know what's going on. Suspicious.
They're pretty talkative.
I'd like to make an insight check.
Yeah. The bandits are like actually pleasant people and they enjoy talking to you and they help you out.
Bandits seem more useful than town.
All right, so Adol finally decides to go into the shrine. The hardest boss fight in all of gaming is the first boss fight you fight in the game, and then you go deeper into the shrine. It's not actually true, but he's tough. The first boss is kind of tough, but in any case, you'll go down and you meet, and you're fighting demons and whatever, and then in a jail cell you meet a young lady with blue hair. Go.
Is she hot?
She was in the jail cell in the intro. Did you know?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, what's she hot?
Canonically, Fina is hot. So Fina's like, "Hey, I was locked here by some man wearing a black hood or some shit." Go.
Is he hot?
I'm not into guys. Brayden can do an analysis later.
What?
Brayden's gay.
Wow.
Who says I'm gay? You are gay.
All right, calm down, ladies and gentlemen.
You think you can graduate this school without kissing my cock?
Calm
Dead
down,
wrong.
Demir.
You're dead wrong.
So Adol's a nice guy. Halfway through this dungeon, they request that you go back out of the dungeon and take her to Jebba. Real quick trivia. You can actually get Fina's measurements. So let that sink in for a second.
Which measurements?
Bust, waist, hip.
Wait, real quick once. Nice and legal?
We'll get to that.
That was special.
One
Sorry, we have to shut this down now. We can't keep.
I think I see R. Kelly coming in.
So we'll talk about that. But,
Chris Hansen, is that you?
if I gave away Fina's age, it would give away her purpose. So, she.
Oh, 500.
So, in order to get her measurements, you have to do this funny little thing where she follows you around. Yeah, funny. It's like 80s anime. It's basically the same thing. Shit. She follows you around. If you get her locked into like this one hallway with a dead end, you push her to the dead end. And then there'll be a little dialogue box, and when you check your status screen, you'll get her measurements.
Adol doesn't do that.
She's 6.
Adol doesn't do that. The player does.
Yeah, you go out of your way to do that. You would have to go out of your way to do that.
Adol doesn't do that. Adol's
Yeah,
a good guy.
Go.
Do you get a blood type?
No, you don't get a blood type.
What's the point?
Look, you're gonna give me everything but the blood
In
type.
any case, that's just a fun little meme. It actually shows up again in East 2, but it's a little worse.
This is worse. You back her into a wall.
You
and then you get her bust size and width.
you get a blood type for the second one?
It's a.
We'll get it.
I get that it's really fucked up, but I like the idea of this like 17-year-old like knight
Being able to
just-
look at a woman and just
no,
immediately measure.
No, like I
measure.
imagine him getting out like a measuring tape.
While we're here.
I got some time to do.
Nowhere else to go.
Adolf's just a tailor in a previous life.
Sure.
That makes it all
So
Measure twice, cut once.
let me see here. Okay, so he goes back into the shrine. You beat another boss, and that one has a Book of East. You have two. Woo! All right. So after receiving the second Book of East, go.
Do you get to read the books of East after you get them?
Not yet. They're actually written in an ancient language. Initially, Jebba has to read them to you because she's an old lady. But eventually,
That's
you get
yes, all old ladies do know every language.
So, well, she's also specifically a descendant of one of the priests. But she knows go.
Priests.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So the so she can read them to you, and then eventually you get an item that lets you read them. In
Oh,
any
the
case,
dictionary.
so after getting the Book of East, he goes to Minea. He finds Sarah. No, he doesn't. She's dead. Sarah was murdered.
Man.
And murdered.
It was the bandits. I know it.
Oh, let me see here. Yeah, supposedly by a man in a dark cape. Again.
I've heard of this one.
He's a bandit. I know it.
I put this out of events. So technically, you get her Book of East here, not when you first meet her. She gives you she gave her Book of East to someone else. Someone else gives it to you. I think it's Rhea in the original.
It really is Library Simulator.
Originally, it's Rhea, but I think it's just some towns dude in Chronicles. But in any case, the Chronicles is a remake of the original games. The story's mostly the same. Anyway.
That's what Big Duke collects late fees is bump combat.
we can't do that in the age of social distancing.
So
Sticky can.
We can't collect fines no more.
So
No mean.
so then the person, whoever gives you the book, tells you, hey, you need to go to the silver mine of Rastin. Okay. So Adel goes to the silver mine. So Rastin is actually really cool because in the silver mine, people just left shit around. I keep spitting everywhere. So you get silver armor and a silver shield there.
There's so much silver, they just make shit and be like,
There's-
fuck it, it's too heavy.
Let's go.
Why hasn't all this silver been stolen?
Technically, the demons are in the mine, so
You never told us about demons.
we'll talk about demons. But the demons are in the mine, and so technically to have possession of them, they probably weren't expecting some red-haired dude from like 400 miles
Yeah, like,
north
there's
to
only
just
They
one.
start
weren't
murdering
expecting a
all.
fucking ginger to come in.
Oh my god.
What?
And
Uh,
Europons.
Oh, I should have mentioned when Adolf does return Jebba or Fina, he gives her to Jebba to take care of because she like conks out the second you leave the shrine. But in any case, so in there you'll find some artifacts, so some silver equipment, some artifacts, and then you'll also find some Rototree seeds. The Rototree is important, and we'll discuss it in this game, and maybe a little bit in this game, but it's not a big deal.
But you got seed.
Yeah, you gotta. It's a seed, but it's really more like a fruit. You can eat it, but we'll talk about that in a second.
So it's like a nut.
So he goes down. He goes down into the mine. He finds another Book of East, and so he comes out. He goes back to Zephic Village and talks to Jebba and Fina. Fina's doing great now. She's doing okay, so that's good.
Yay.
And Jebba's taking care of her. Jebba helps decipher the Books of East, like I mentioned before, so that she can read them. She's actually a descendant of the priest Tova, one of the 6 priests who helped save East from some sort of darkness that happened in the past that they're unsure about now. Let me see here. So when you start reading, go.
Other than bump, sorry, this is a little bit more of a side kind of gameplay wise. Other than bump combat, is there something kind of unique about East that's kind of special compared to like other games of its time?
I guess the music, and then when it came out for the TurboGrafx or the TurboGrafx PC, it had voice acting. It was one of the first games to have voice acting.
Metal Gear, eat your shit.
Yeah. What?
First of all, voice acting on the TurboGrafx 16?
Yes. The main villain has a line, and I think Rhea has a line.
Has a lie.
What was it good?
It's not terrible.
better or worse than Final Fantasy X?
There's like 2 lines. It's hard to say. I think
That's fair.
it's been a while since I've actually heard them, but they're okay. It's not terrible.
Subs or dubs?
I prefer playing it without voice acting because it's usually terrible. But or at least with Japanese voices, I just prefer reading the shit.
I can't even really read, bro.
So the books of Ys start telling, when you start reading them, they tell you sort of a story of how Ys was sort of a land covered in darkness, or not covered in darkness. It was a prosperous land, and then they had this weird metal called Claria, and Claria seemed to summon demons. Weird
Right.
champ. So all these demons start showing up, and they're like, okay, we're going to throw all the Claria underground, and we're going to get out of here. And that's kind of where it ends, because you only have 3 books.
This is also how we deal with nuclear waste.
It genuinely is, though.
Yeah.
It's also the start of Claritin.
Thank you.
So they had reasoned that the Claria was causing the demons to arrive. In any case, so Jebba actually tells Adol that Goban, her son, is the leader of the bandits, and that in order to find the rest of the Book of Ys, he will actually need to go into Darn Tower. So Darn Tower is this big old tower, and it's filled with demons. It kind of showed up just showed up one day.
Tower.
Damn, you know when that happens.
Just crammed full.
That's what happened to
Yeah,
the
it's-
backyard
it's-
last week.
Yeah, like exterminated.
Full of demons.
Yeah,
Full of demons. But yeah, so Adol goes there, and the only person who can let him in is Goban and his bandit group.
That's why.
So they're like, hey, so Jebba's like, hey, I'm gonna put in a good word for you, and then you gotta go to Darn Tower. And Adol's like, I'm free on weekends. And so before entering the tower, you're also supposed to go to a Rhoda tree, and when you eat the Rhoda tree seed, Adol can suddenly hear the tree speak.
I didn't know I watched this.
Yeah,
I'm
I-
kind of nut, dude.
Technically, the trees can always speak. It's just that Adol needs to eat the seed in order to. God damn it! Needs to eat the seed and then is able to understand it. Go.
I'd like to ask my classmate Kyle, have you ever had any experience with consuming if I've planted and being able to hear them speak?
No, because I've already eaten them.
There we go.
So when you talk to the Rhoda tree's like, hey, we totally predict. I'm talking slow because they talk slow. Hey, we totally predicted that you would come here. That's cool. In order to defeat the evil that's here, you're gonna need a better sword than the one you have. It's shit. Here's a silver sword,
Okay.
and you get a silver sword that's just stuck in its branches, I guess.
Okay.
Like there's no like. Ys 1 and 2 is very primitive in terms of graphics, and so it's like you just get it, and you're like, so where did it come from? It's not a big deal.
Don't worry about it.
Just drops out of its branches.
It could be possible
Like a
that
kite.
like it Deku treed that shit and there's a little inlet, but I don't know. So you begin climbing the tower, and the first thing that happens after fighting a couple demons and going up a couple floors, you get caught in a trap. And the trap kind of sends you back down and in prison. While you're in prison, they took your silver stuff. So the demons took your stuff, locked you in prison, and you're stuck there.
Damn. Rude.
And you're stuck there.
Bunch of vassals.
And you're stuck there. You can't get out.
Just like real life.
BAM! Dogi comes in. He crushed the wall for
What does he
you.
do?
He crushed the wall.
Fuck.
Have we met Dogi yet? Where
No,
did we meet Dogi?
this is the first time you meet Dogi.
He's like, hey guys, what's up?
He walks in, and he's literally like, hey man, it looked like you were struggling there for a little bit. Dogi's a part of the bandit group. He's not from Asteria, but he's part of the bandit group there. And so he just decided to help Adol out because he was also stuck in Darm Tower. You also
Darm Tower.
meet Luda Gemma, who's one of the descendants of the priest Gemma from Ys, or from the folklore. And so, he had sleptwalk into Darm Tower. That's how they explain it.
Okay.
He's just there.
He's important later. We'll also talk about him in a little bit. So there isn't really a way to get past the trap. It's demonic in nature and it's just magic. Adol can't really counter it. So they have to find some way. So he has to go out and find some way to counter it. Dogi actually tells him that there's an old man named Raba in the tower. and that he might have something that can help Adol. So Adol goes talk to Raba, and then he gives him an amulet that prevents the trap from working. Some gameplay shit. Go.
Do we ever get any impression that these demons actually kill anyone or just imprison them?
They're supposedly violent, but yeah, in every instance, they seem to imprison people. It does make sense why they imprison Fina. I'm not sure why they don't just kill Adol. Although it might
Yeah,
be
this
the
guy
case.
got red hair.
They're kind of shitty demons.
In the case, yeah, because they like ransack.
Wait, are they also like the bandits? Are they secretly okay?
No, but yeah, they kind of take Adol's stuff. It might be implied that they just take your stuff and leave you like wherever. Because the only person who actually gets killed is Sarah, and she was killed by something that just some guy in a dark cloak that we don't meet until later.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so you make your way up in the tower, and you actually find some better equipment than the silver stuff that you had. It's called battle armor, and so you get the. No, it's just like battle armor and a flame sword and stuff. So it's like cool shit.
Just
Like
flame sword.
it's just
Flame sword. One of those.
just cool shit.
Oh, dude, flame sword. Just
As you
2d6
make your way up the tower, there are two
Dude,
bosses.
boy.
Each one holds a new book of Ys. And so, as you go up, so you have like 5 at this point, but you can't read any of them because you can't speak whatever language they're in.
Just cast comprehend.
You're not Asian.
And so, let me see here. Yeah, so going up, you find an evil ring, and this evil ring it insta kills you, like in game, like it'll just murder you if you equip it. So you're like, I don't want to equip that shit, and then you come up to a door, and it's like, it's demonic in nature. Someone demonic would have to open it, and it's like, I have to equip that evil ring, huh? So you put on the blue amulet and equip the evil ring, and then you're able to open the door. Did I mention the amulet? I don't think I did.
No, I thought you said you put it on and it disarmed traps and shit.
Oh yes. Okay. So no, I think you do. Okay, that's mentioned later. Oh, never mind. Okay, so Luna Gemma had an amulet that specifically prevents that from demonic power from affecting you, and then Raba had like a necklace that prevented the trap from working. Go.
So is this whole amulet ring combination business? Is that like is that something that the player figures out, or is this
The player would have to figure it out.
Okay, so this is like a puzzle.
Yeah, it's a small puzzle door, and so
Cool.
you equip the evil ring and you equip the amulet. You don't die immediately. Great. You open the door. Rhea's in there. What?
She's a demon.
So Rhea's in there, and she's like, "Hey, Adol, I know you have questions. Don't ask any of them. We have more important shit to do."
Is she giving a lecture on Ys right now?
Yeah.
Sit down. There's a chair over there. Grab some snacks.
Yeah. So she's basically telling Adol, "Hey, I know that you have questions about why I'm here and what I'm doing. It doesn't matter." Or I think she mentions that the demons took her, but she specifically is like, "I know you have questions why they're taking me and stuff, but it's not important right now. What's important is that you need to get to the top of Darm Tower and fight the guy at the top." And so, let's go.
Does Adol talk?
Adol doesn't talk in the games, so
I know you have a lot of questions.
because specifically because they're adapted from the books that Adol wrote, and Adol did not place himself in a very important status in the books. Go.
So
He writes about himself in third person.
So is this like a Guilty Gear situation where this guy's just called the guy at the top of the tower, or like cloaked man or some shit?
Until you get to the top, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So we don't know his name. But there's some evil guy at the top of the tower. And she also mentions, hey, your regular equipment isn't going to work against him. Only Claria equipment will.
Oh, okay.
We don't have Claria equipment.
So the tree is a big fucking cheapskate.
She also gives you some monocles to read the Book of Ys.
2 monocles.
They're magical monocles, dude. They're magical monocles. Or I think it's just 1 monocle, actually.
If it's 2, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, you have to squint.
I for some reason remember them being like spectacles, but no, I think it's a monocle. But it's a monocle that lets you read the Book of Ys. And so you read the rest of them, and they're sort of talking about how, as they, in order to leave, they actually lifted all of Ys up. The whole land.
They fucking Valinor it.
Like they rose it out of the ground.
Use
Using the...
Shut the fuck up, Brandon.
So they move the whole land up using the power of 2 goddesses and the priests of Ys, the 6 priests. And so as the whole land starts moving up, they realized the demon problem didn't stop.
Oh no.
So it wasn't Claria.
It's like a hornet's
So it wasn't
nest.
Claritin Clairs?
It wasn't Claria. Claria wasn't the problem. And that's why all you read because you only have 5. And so, let me
Blue
see
balls
here.
again.
Ooh.
So, as you move up the tower, you get your silver equipment back, which is kind of weird because like you have better equipment at that point. And then you, in one of the books of East, it does mention that Claria ore is shiny. So I mean, like, what if we put on the silver armor because it might be Claria armor?
Ooh. Ooh.
Literally, the final boss is dependent on if you equip Claria armor or not. If you do not equip the silver armor, you're going to do dick all damage to him and die. Like there's the way the final boss works is when you hit them, the ground underneath you like
When you
shines.
bump them?
Yeah, when you bump them, the ground underneath you shines for a bit and then it disappears. And so more of the floor is going away as you hit the final guy. I'm gonna get to his name, and then Victor's so excited. The final guy, you hit him, and the floor disappears underneath you. So there's literally not enough space for you to do regular damage to him, even if you were over leveled, which you can't because East 1 caps your level at 10. But and that's for like story reason. Adol is supposed to just grow in this adventure, and so halfway through the game you reach about level 10, and then you're able to get through the rest of the game fine. Let me see here. All right, we come to the final man. You meet him, and he tells you he is the descendant of the priest Fact, and his name is Dark Fact.
Yes! Dark Fact!
His name is literally Dark Fact. And so he's
Hero's evil twin.
Dark Fact and Dark Logic!
Let's say technically that you were to challenge me.
So Adol defeats Dark Fact. Big whoop. He's a really tough boss. It's kind of like a bullet hell almost because he's just shooting lasers at you and you have to like sort of dodge around them and hit him. Anyway, it's a cool final boss fight. I feel like I'll say this now. East 1 is probably like the most mechanically sound game because it's so short and so distilled like to bump combat that everything that you could do with bump combat is done in East 1. East 2 does have bump combat as well, but adds magic into the mix, so there's more things to do. But East 1 specifically, bump combat is king, and it's the most, like everything I think you could possibly do with it is explored in that game. As Fact dies, he kind of gives you a why you suck speech. He basically tells you, hey, that's cool that you defeated me, but you didn't defeat the big bad. You have no idea what's going on, dude. There's something way bigger than both of us happening here. And so as he dies, he gives you, he doesn't give it to you. His corpse has the final book, the Book of Fact. And you learn that... Victor, calm down, dude. Dude, we're gonna talk about East Origin, and it's gonna destroy you. And so you read the final book, and there it's revealed to you that East went into the sky, and there was a black pearl that was causing the demons to show up,
Oh no.
and the goddesses disappeared with the black pearl.
Oh no.
The Black Pearl.
What's going on?
Avasti, maybe.
As you're reading it, all the books surround Adol, and a white light surrounds him. And suddenly he's shot from Darton Tower into the sky.
Okay.
That's what happens when you.
The game
open
ends.
the facts.
Wait.
Can you read all the diary?
What about the storm wall?
Oh,
The storm wall? Okay, so the storm wall, the storm wall's still there, actually. So,
We're still demons?
So all you did was get enough
the
library.
demons are suppressed. Specifically, it's mentioned that the demons are suppressed, but go ahead.
So in a lot of places on your board, you've kind of grouped 1 and 2 together. Like, were they released together?
They
Or
were
was this
released
just a massive
separately. They were
cucking of epic proportions.
they were released separately, originally. Typically, when you
So,
buy them, you'll buy them.
separately, but at the same time, or
No, separately, like a year apart. And
Oh.
so they were meant to be one game. They were meant to be one game, and so they're sold typically now as like one game. that you can buy. But yeah, they're considered separate games. You have to go into the menu and select the other one.
To
Like,
be
You
a
have to
poor
flip the Sonic
Japanese
3
JRPG fan in
it's sort of like a Sonic
1987,
3 Knuckles
you have to wait
situation.
a year to figure out what happened to Dark Fact.
Well, I mean, if you had the PC-88, like,
You have to
or the
flip-
Master System. I guess the Master System.
You
they
have
were
to
still
flip the disc from side A to side B.
no, because
The disc
you
has
wouldn't.
to be
You wouldn't.
made of Claria.
You wouldn't have it until a year later. You wouldn't have part
You
two
have to
until-
wait until.
Look, this is too meta. Let's talk about yeast.
Yeast.
Is there
So-
yeast in yeast?
Oh my god.
So East 2 actually begins outside of Adol. So there's some dark figures in a room just talking about how Adol's kind of fucking up their plans.
Yeah, Trump was talking about them, right?
Oh my god.
So the dark figures are just kind of talking about how Adol's kind of fucking up their plans and that we need to eliminate him. But he's not fucking it up so much that we need to go out of our way to eliminate him. You know, the classic villain move. Go.
Are they Chows? They're just switching Chows around because that's the type of the game.
No. Magnus, shut the fuck up.
Jeez Louise.
I
No.
that one wasn't my fault.
So,
Wait, I need to run to the restroom.
oh, come on, Magnus.
Sorry, I'm
We've
sorry.
already got blue balls by the ending of East 1, and now you have to go piss?
I'm sorry.
East 2. Get back over.
Come on, get back in the corner.
I should have told everyone to go to the bathroom beforehand. Anyway, so
Oh, I just went because my nose was running.
East 2.
Right.
East 2 starts, like I mentioned, with all those dark figures gathering, and they're like, we'll keep an eye on Adol, but he's not a big deal. Adol kind of landed, and it kind of hurt. He's kind of destroyed for a little bit. He takes like 3 days to rest. And so,
Like Jesus. He gets absolutely Dragon Balls.
like, he gets thrown on, spoiler, he gets thrown onto East. And so a little girl, or not a little girl, she's like his age, named Lilia finds him, and she picks him up. Technically Adol 17, by the way. I probably should mention that.
No, yeah, that was already.
I don't like where this is going.
So Lilia and her family takes care of Adol, and she has like a disease.
They trapped the red-haired moron.
So she has a disease that's actually like impeding her life. She's probably gonna die soon.
She has corona.
Oh,
She
I
has
feel
corona.
bad
So-
about that.
So
syphilis.
Adol recovers, and
Yeah.
so he's talking to the people here. A, they don't know there's a world outside of East. Kind of weird. And B, they're also dealing with demon problems that start at the same time as Asteria's demon problems. Go.
But I thought the demon problems were ongoing on East because of the Black Pearl.
No,
wait,
no,
no,
the
the
goddesses
goddesses-
left
okay.
with the Black Pearl and the demon problem stopped.
Yay.
Air quotes solved.
Chris.
We did it, guys. We did it. We got him.
Yeah.
Terrorism.
So
We
So Adol notices one of the members of the village. I think it's probably the mayor. Tells Adol like, "Hey, our doctor just went missing. His name is Dr. Flair, and so we need to go. We need to go find him. He's lost in Solomon Temple.
The one on the ground.
No. Solomon Shrine is on the ground. Solomon Temple is in the air.
My bad.
I thought it would come up. That's why I made it. So
Is this like the biblical Solomon?
no, it's like I think it's one of the priests.
Is it Solomon?
It's SOLOMAN.
Solomon.
Solomon.
So it's Solomon. not
Solomon.
Yeah, I say it quick. So
You wrote Ecclesiastes.
so one of the people notices. I think it's the elder who notices that some people went into Solomon Temple. They looked like the goddesses, but he's getting old, so who knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, those look like two gods. I don't know. I can't see straight.
Go.
Is there like a look for gods?
So throughout East 1 and East 2, you meet statues of the goddesses and what they look like.
You mean statues.
You see statues of the goddesses and what they look like.
Say
So
hi. After you that's see you talk to
Who knows who you're gonna
You
talk
get their
to?
measurements.
nice and raw.
So nice and rock. So yeah, so like we have a general idea of what they look like. In East 2, there's even more goddess statues. There's always a pair of them. So yeah, they know what they look like. Yeah.
Sir.
So it might be I was totally wrong. So it's not Solomon Temple. Solomon Temple's later. This is the sanctuary of Toll. So this is Toll Sanctuary. Underneath Toll Sanctuary is actually a mine. What is it called? Rastini Mine. And in there you find Celceta flowers and Dr. Flare. And you also find a magic rod that gives you magical powers, but that's gameplay shit that I don't care about.
Toll's one of the priests, right?
Toll is a descendant of one of the priests that we
Okay.
talk about in East Origin. Let me see here. So, so Adol gets a couple magic spells from the dungeon. I think it's specific, like just fire, but again, gameplay stuff. And when you, the Celceta flower is actually what you need to help cure Lilia's disease. And so Dr. Flare was in the mine looking for the flower so that he could help cure Lilia. Well, he kind of got busy because he had to fight demons sometimes, and so
For shame.
just open it, dude. Just open it.
Just get it over with.
Anyway.
Rip the band-aid off.
So,
All of your tips are fucking amazing. We
So-
know.
so, let me see here. So, if you go back into the sanctuary, you actually have to give the books of East to the statues of the 6 priests, one to each priest, and they actually give you a little bit of information. I think they tell you. Yeah, the demons started appearing on the island on East the same time that they started appearing on Asteria. They tell you some of the history of East. So basically some of the stuff I mentioned with the books. They had, unbeknownst to them, brought the source of the demons with them to East.
Oh no.
And so they don't mention what it is, but I think I spoiled it earlier.
The Black Pearl.
Yeah. And so...
I'm asking you, maybe.
separated. So about 700 years ago, they decided that fuck this, we're just going to go up, and so they did. The Demon's Master is actually in the Shrine of Solomon. Again, I apologize for mentioning
Wait,
it
you mean
earlier.
the Temple of Solomon?
Got him.
No, they're both called the Shrine of Solomon. I was making it easier for you. So Solomon Shrine on the ground is a much smaller part of the bigger Solomon Shrine in the air.
So this is like a Skyloft temple
So East is
situation.
part of.
Yeah.
So East used to be part of that.
Yeah,
Like,
East used to be a part of Asteria. They literally lifted up out of the ground.
is there like a hole in Asteria?
Yes, there's a big
Oh, holy shit.
gash in Asteria where East
Oh,
used
so
to
it's
be.
just the. That's pretty cool.
It's a big dog.
I was going to ask about that, but I didn't think it was important.
Yeah, there's a big
And now it is.
there's a big empty crevice where East used
No, that's
to be.
right. They
How
literally
long
just
ago did
fucking
that happen again?
Valinor did.
What?
How long ago did that happen? That East was
700 years.
700 years ago.
Okay.
So it makes sense that like no one really knows like East's folklore. People don't really know East. People on East don't really know anything outside of it. No,
Can you see East from the ground?
no.
How high up is it?
I don't. There's.
You see
It's
it
not.
with
It's
a
fantasy
telescope?
shit. I assume. No, you can't see it with a telescope either.
So they have like a
It's
cloaking
probably just
device.
like you can't see it from below or something. Yeah.
Some magic shit.
Magic.
Shut up.
You can't get the island's measurements.
All right. So the priests, because they're dead, tell you, hey, it's kind of your responsibility to fix shit now.
Oh no.
Sorry, boy. They tell them specifically to find the 2 goddesses, and then what else?
I've seen this plotline.
Yeah, and help defeat the evil that's inside Solomon Shrine. Go.
So you have to bring a book to a statue of each of the priests, but is there still a statue of Fact, even though Fact went like evil and is presumably
His
a active
descendant
god?
was evil. Told himself was not specific. We'll talk about that. Because that is actually a good question, and probably why I should have replayed 1 and 2. But what you talk to, you do give it to the statue of Fact, and he does mention that his descendants are evil, but he doesn't really talk about anything else. And he's like, "I'm sorry that my descendants are bad kids, but please help us out."
Hypothetically, my children are hellspawn.
Magic in East 1 and 2 kind of sucks. I'm just going to be real honest. If you play East 1 and 2, you're going to be like, wow, I should bump that enemy. You're wrong. You should just hit them with a fire spell because it's way more effective and it gives you distance. Magic kind of makes bump combat less good. Let's see.
Magic, kind of epic. Not gonna lie.
A lesson that Dragon Age did not learn.
Yeah.
More magic. I think Dragon Age is just more magic.
Yeah, Dragon Age is literally unplayable.
So-
right now.
Adol's like, well, I have nothing better to do this weekend. So he goes to the sanctuary, and you have to fight through like a glacier and shit.
Wait, a glacier?
Yeah, there's a place called the Glacier of Nulsha that you go through.
How big is East that there's this much like?
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, the
there's this
glacier's
much,
like in a cave, so like you're kind of like doing this.
Okay.
I mean, and there's also like
It's like
there's
a
a lot
big
of
park glacier.
topography in the East, despite the fact that it's a tiny island.
Again, how big is it?
I don't even know. I don't think it's even stated, but it is the Shrine of Solomon, which
It's
is
like the size of
huge.
Malta.
Are there,
And then there's like a mountain range on it.
It's
So
a
yeah,
small
there
island like
a
Australia.
mountain range?
yeah.
By the way, everything I learned about the actual island of East makes it like fucking 10 times more dope.
So it's
there's-
like, is Estes, isn't it?
Asteria.
Asteria? Is Asteria like a donut, basically?
No, it's not a donut. It's like it's still like shaped like an island. It's sort of like a U shape, like almost like a
island.
crescent moon.
It's more crescent. So they took most of Asteria with them.
Not most of it. There's like a big chunk that's missing though.
Or
For
did
sure.
they like Minecraft skyblock it and like build it out? Like,
No. There's a big old recess where
So
So
there
literally
is-
just they like scoop the ground.
Yeah,
I know,
Like,
but like
explode.
I'm just trying to think like
Like
it should have been in the intro, but whatever.
but how is it that massive and also there's still an
Well, I guess
island
it
on
could
the
be
island?
Asteria's just big.
Yeah, Asteria is probably just a big
Yeah, it's
island.
probably like Australia.
Like Malta.
So-
It's just a small uninhabitable island like Australia.
I'm sorry, like you on your map here you've drawn Asteria. Like, is it actually square shaped?
Oh no, I just drew that to put 1 and 2
Is
in
that
there.
to scale?
I don't know how big Asteria is.
Australia.
But again, sizes is really kind of weird because you do go through quite a bit of topography. So out of the Glacier of Nulsha, there is a moat. There's a moat of Bernard Bless. Another town is in there, and it's filled with lava.
Nani?
This sounds fucking awesome.
This is just Australia.
Where are the spiders?
So in the moat of Bernard Bless, there's like this is a cute little trivia. So in the moat of Bernard Bless, you meet the mayor's basically stonewalling you from getting out because he was told to by demons because they have his son captive.
Oh no.
Wait,
Adolf,
demons are like
You can
intelligent.
get his son's measurements.
oh, you meet a nice demon in the moat of Bernard Bless called Keith, and he's actually really nice.
This is my dark overlord, Dark Fact, and this is my son Keith.
Hey guys, what's going on? I
So
don't really want to kidnap people and steal their silver.
yeah, Keith actually helps you out a little bit. But so
It's not
Adolf
all demons.
gets a magic ability to read minds, by the way, that you
What?
use for this quest.
Damn.
So
What?
so like
Why does
you
this
read
sound so
that's how you
fucking
get their
sick
blood
and
you
type.
read
based?
you read his mind. You're like, hey, so his son is missing. Let's go save his son. So you go save his son. You can't get his measurements as well in the exact same way,
Oh,
and he's an actual child. So,
Adel, no.
Chris Hansen, is that you?
Why don't you have a seat here, Adel?
He's 17.
Again, the player has to do it. Adel doesn't do
Yeah,
it.
it's an Easter egg. It's an Easter
That
egg.
does not
that
make
the-
it better.
No,
It doesn't make it better. It's just that Adel himself. didn't
Adolf
do it.
canonically does not
It's the
gather their
filthy degenerates that play
does
games.
not literally gather their.
Yeah, don't worry, guys.
I
It's
think
just
it's
the
in his
game
journal
promoting
that you can do
degeneracy.
that.
It's just the game developers who want you to do that.
So
Go.
where's Doki?
Dogi is on Asteria right now. He's actually doesn't appear in these two. These two tallies here are going to remain empty. Sorry,
Game sucks?
There's no
Game
airboats.
sucks.
Damn it.
airboats. Again, there was supposed to be one game, so technically this is like one per the game that it is. But
Then you're
Disappointing.
stonewalling you, and there's only one person who could help, and he's not fucking here.
so
First walls. and
yeah, so
only
Keith
Tertius were
Keith
here.
actually helps you save the son of the mayor. I think his name is Tarf, or the bridge keeper. His name is Tarf, and so Keith helps you save him. So you arrive finally in Ramia Village. Ramia Village is right before the Sanctuary of Solomon, or whatever. Solomon Sanctuary. Shrine of Solomon. My bad.
The SS.
My brain is
The
fucking-
SS.
The Solomon
No!
What's wrong with that?
So the people in Ramia are like, hey, thanks for showing up. The past few months, some demons have just been literally kidnapping people and murdering them.
Finally.
They bring them to Solomon Shrine
They get an
and
thing.
murder them.
Is this like ritualistic? in
Yes, it's
nature?
ritualistic. They come regularly.
They can't help
And they
it, they're
literally just
demons.
hand people off. Like, we can't do anything.
Wow, this got suddenly really fucked.
Yeah,
Again, like, this sounds like fucking
It
awesome.
sounds super dope.
You also meet a guy whose wife or his fiance was just enlisted to go be the sacrifice for the demons, and he has a penchant for vengeance.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a wee bit
This sounds
cliche.
fucking awesome. It's
Uh,
cliche.
And then this is
Yeah,
happening
it's
in
the
a moat.
eldest son. His name is Sada, and his wife's name is Maria, or his
This
fiance.
is happening in a moat of lava.
No. This is outside of the mode of
Alright.
Burner Bless. So Adol is cool. He has a magic spell that lets you turn into an enemy, like a demon. He becomes a small demon called a little Rue. And
blue
so
magic in this game?
what?
There's like blue, like Final Fantasy VI blue magic.
You don't
in
get
this
to use the enemy's moves against them. You just turn into an enemy, and then you can talk to them.
Oh,
okay.
It's a stealth thing. Like
Some
so.
more land
Yeah.
is what I'm hearing.
No goblin punches.
Yeah.
I'm getting the fuck out.
So he disguises himself as a demon to get into the Shrine of Solomon. Some guy named Dallas, who's I think the main guy's right hand man, is like, hey,
Dallas.
Dalles.
Dalles.
Dallas days. So he finds him. Dias maybe, yeah. But he finds Adol, and he's like, dude, you already lost. You're gonna be permanently a monster.
Oh my
You're
What?
permanently a monster now.
What?
You can't use magic to transform yourself out of it. Dallas's magic is too strong and seals you into the form of a rune.
Okay.
What's that fucking sick?
Alright.
This is like if that one part in Kingdom Hearts 1 was actually good.
So Adol is like, fuck, shit.
Shit.
Damn.
Fuck.
So he goes back to Ramia Village. Ramia Village has this little holy cup.
And they kill him
Fill,
outside.
and any water that's put into the cup is holy water. And so Adol drinks from it, and then he becomes normal Adol.
Oh, okay.
I just want to mention that because the Shrine of Solomon is a fucking maze, and so you have halfway through the maze, you have to just be like, oh, I gotta go back. Like Darn Tower is like a linear, like you keep going up rooms. Imagine if all of that was just flattened out and spread across. The Shrine of Solomon is really tough.
You can't do that. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I said
Disgusting.
in my notes, quick gameplay note, Solomon Shrine is a cluster, not very fun to go through without a guide. Yeah, so as Adol continues infiltrating the shrine, he actually finds a group. He actually finds a group of villagers in the canal of the shrine. The shrine has a canal, and so he finds this group of villagers there. I think Sada is there. I also think, Lilia is there. She had apparently chased Adol from Lance Village all the way to Ramia Village. I don't know how she got through the glacier or the moat, but she did.
She went around.
And I don't know how she beat Adol to it.
Can't
Is that
go.
Emperor's
Actually, I think she left town, and demons actually literally picked her up and took her there.
Oh, that's convenient.
It was Keith. It was
Well, he
Keith.
also had to go all the way back through a fucking maze, a little tiny
Taxi.
fucker.
It was Keith. Keith did it.
Keith did it.
Keith, our boy, did
Dallas arrives again. He's like, hey, Adol, thanks, man. I was really looking for these people. Turns them all to stone and leaves Adol alone to suffer.
Fuck.
So Dallas is like a cockhead.
He is a real asshole.
Is he better or worse than Dark Fact? I want Dark Fact back.
Dark Fact is in that one game and never comes back. I hope you
No!
we'll discuss him more in Origin. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, we did, but you know.
So yeah, funnily enough, he leaves Adol alone, the most dangerous person to suffer. Whatever. He's a dumb.
It's just because he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Doesn't like
He's like, I'm gonna give my.
He's also
attention.
actually pretty strong, but whatever. Adol continues moving through the shrine. He meets Keith again. Maria's being held for sacrifice. That's a name that no one cares about. Okay, so Adol goes to save Maria from getting just sacrificed. And so he has to fight this woman named Zava, who's a dark sorceress. She's a demon sorceress. It's also implied that she creates demons. So I think there's a specific boss you fight in each one that she made. And then you fight her and kill her.
Dope.
He finds Maria and tries to stop the ritual, but Dallas shows up again and ensures the sacrifice is not stopped and just takes her to another building.
So I completely forgot, and I apologize for this, Professor, but when did Dallas show up and what's his fucking deal?
Dallas technically showed up at the very beginning of East 2. The dark figure was him.
One of the dark figures sitting in the room.
Yeah, what was him?
Imagine if they were all in.
And also like did he just show up to fuck with people?
We'll talk about that. So, Adol discovers an artifact called the Dreaming Idol.
Say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Adol discovers an artifact called the Dreaming Idol, and it turns all the people who were stoned back to normal,
Nice.
including Sada. So he also finds that Maria was moved. She's not dead. She was just moved.
Oh, okay. So I guess I didn't need that sacrifice after all.
So, well, it's implied that Dallas doesn't know what happened to her.
Sorry, mishap.
With
Mishap.
everyone in a much better position, not being frozen in stone. Adol goes to the center of the shrine. Okay, this is the big moment. Dallas is like, yo, you're being a real fucker right now, and I really hate what's going on. I'm going to kill you right now.
No, you.
And then you defeat him.
Is it like satisfying to finally kill that fucker? Or is he kind of a pushover?
The track that plays when you fight him is called Overdrive, and it's super fucking awesome.
So good.
And so it is kind of this big moment where he's been fucking with you the whole game, and you're just like, fuck. And so
He casts no fireballs and he dies.
yeah, he casts a couple fireballs and he dies.
So it's not gameplay wise very satisfying.
Well, I mean, he's like a bullet. Like it is like a bullet hell where you're just kind of like moving through his projectiles, and you have to wait to shoot your projectile at him, and then occasionally you can bump him.
Just imagine you bombs people on the top of their
All
heads.
right, here's where things get fucky.
Here's where things get funny.
I think the
Adol enters the core. The core of Solomon, Solomon Shrine.
Is
and
it called
so-
the core.
Yeah, I think it's called specifically the Core of Solomon Shrine. So he discovers, so all the villagers from Lance Village who are descendants of the priests of Ys show up.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, Maria survived the sacrifice using a magical bracelet passed down through her family. I think she gives it to you.
Yes. It's saved my life.
And then
before
Lilia
taking
shows
it.
up and gives you a ring that can stop magic barriers.
This guy's just.
Alright.
That's fucking sick.
This guy's.
No one
just
gives you shit, and
The
it's all
only
awesome.
reason this guy can do anything he does is because he's decked out in magic blade. Like.
Kyle, I've
It's true.
seen you play D&D.
No, he's the ultimate fighter. He can't do. He's like an Eldritch Knight.
So Adol goes to the second to last room in the game, and you find the goddesses there. They're imprisoned by magical energy.
Oh no.
There's a master of demons who kind of like tells Adol like, you're a piece of shit, big villain speech. And then
Disgusting. I hate you. Give me $200.
he says he's broken free of the imprisonment that the goddesses had placed on him, and that he's going to fuck the world over.
Oh no.
What is his name?
Now, Goben Tova, the bandit leader, and Luta Gemma from the Tower of Darm Tower show up. They say that they had a dream where the goddesses had asked them to come to East, or go to Darm Tower specifically, and when they reached the top, the same thing happened to them that happened to Adol, except they were unharmed.
Wow.
The world wants to fuck over Adol. Goben actually gives Adol Rhea's silver harmonica. So that's actually brought in the previous game. I should have mentioned it. But there's
No,
a
you
quest.
did mention it.
Oh, did I mention it? So Rhea has a silver harmonica. It's implied that the harmonica is made of Claria. Claria enhances, in these suits reveals Claria enhances magical energy. Go.
Do you still have your Claria sword from?
No, when you land in the East, all you have is the Book of East. Like all six.
Alright.
You find some more silver stuff when you play the game, but whatever.
Man, they really do fuck over our boy.
Yeah, Adol gets fucked over and still wins, so. So playing the harmonica, because Adol can do that apparently, it dispels the imprisonment for the goddesses, and it's revealed the goddesses are Fina and Rhea. Big twist. So that's why Fina's age isn't really a big deal, because she's literally over 1,000.
Wait, then our
Alright, so then
17-year-old.
Does she look 12?
No, she looks like probably Adol's age 18.
Nice. You literally put the goddess in the corner and took her measurements.
hey,
But, alright,
She was cool with it.
did
Anyway,
we ever clarify what those measurements were?
you can look them up if you want to.
What's her cup size?
It doesn't mention. It's just measurements bust waist hip. I don't know.
Bleh.
It's not really super helpful. It's just a funny meme. All right. So Rhea, I gotta hold this for this
It's
one.
super helpful
So
if you
Rhea
want to-
explains that 700 years ago, after defeating the demons, the goddesses sealed away the power of the Black Pearl. They did this by putting themselves into sleep. We're going to talk about that when we get to
The
Origin.
Black Pearl's open again.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that. So the Black Pearl is just basically this black orb that produces monsters and is a source of magic. So they'd used it to like basically use their magic and allowed people to use magic without any assistance. So it was really useful, but it's also causing demons to show up. The goddesses chose to stay behind on the surface of Asteria and sealed away the magic-enhancing metal Claria deep in the ground, after which they went into a long slumber. Go.
So I'm sorry if this was like clarified or implied earlier, but is Claria just silver, or are silver and Claria different things, and people just thought that Claria was silver?
I did research because you asked me that last time and I didn't know. Claria and silver are two different things.
Oh, okay.
It's just that they get mistaken for each other. Or not the other way around. Specifically, the Asterians thought Claria was silver. Go.
So that means their silver export might just be Claria?
Some of it might be Claria, but it's not going to matter soon.
This.
What?
Some fucking metallurgist is gonna be pissed.
Centuries passed, and so some Claria was mined by the Asterians, which is kind of bad news. They also, that released enough magic so that Dark Fact could break the seal on the Black Pearl. And so all the events of East 1 are a result of Dark Fact breaking the seal on the Black Pearl after Claria was found.
Claria mining?
Yeah, as a result of them silver mining and then finding Claria.
So like the seal's like multi-layered essentially.
The seal,
Claria and sealing
we'll talk
the-
about the seal in a bit, but the seal is basically the goddesses.
Okay.
When they go into sleep, their power suppresses the Black Pearl.
But since they broke the seal in the mines, it weakened the rest of the seals.
What? Sorry.
How was he able to break the seal? Oh, he had Claria.
Claria
He can use
enhances
Claria.
your magic, and so
Okay.
he's able to break the seal using enhanced magic from
But
Claria.
it's got demons.
But yeah, he's trying to cause the demons. He wants the Black Pearl to win. What else is
I
there?
missed Dark Fact already.
They also explain that they don't have the strength to seal the Black Pearl again. And so, like everyone else in the entire series, they're like, "You want to do it for us, Adel?"
So this entire series, the world is saved multiple times because Adel's fucking bored and has no life.
Like, legitimately, he does this for fun.
To be honest, though, isn't that like exactly what most adventurers do?
Yeah, he's just exploring for fun.
But at this point, like, he's not making money from this, right?
Nothing more than what the monsters are dropping.
He's not like making any.
I've seen how much
He's not
money
making
you
any
got in
money from it.
E7.
He's not making any
You
money
get
from it, but
money.
he gets to live.
Well, yeah, but Adel's famous then.
In E7, no, but like defeating enemies gives you money. No one gives you money in E7. That's funny.
Riches and bitches, bro.
But no, you make money.
So they choose Adel to be their champion, and so with the descendants of the priests all there, the goddess is present. Adel is given a portion of their power, and then he has to fight a sentient form of the Black Pearl. It's called Darm.
Called what?
It's called Darm.
Darn.
So the same
Like the
same name
tower.
as the tower. Yeah.
So then is the tower named after the Black Pearl, but like in like
Darm Tower, kinda. It's kind of explained that way.
That darn town.
Do you think that it was named when some localization fuck, like, accidentally spelled dark wrong and he's like, I'm not changing it?
No, because it'd probably be hard to mess that up.
no, it was Exodus, X-Death.
So
Oh my god.
So-
God.
So Adel defeats the Black Pearl. He just kind of destroys it. Easy win.
Easy money.
Easy money. He reappears in the sanctuary with Fina, Rhea, and all the descendants of the priests. They congratulate him, and he slowly comes back and merges with the rest of the world. Fina and Rhea both leave. Fina a little bit sad because she had fallen in love with Adel, and canonically Adel falls in love with only her. And so they say goodbye. The goddesses once again enter a magic sleep and watch over Asteria. Make sure the magic from the Black Pearl doesn't return. She just asks Adel to always remember her.
Aw.
Oh man.
Damn.
And then the people of East are prepared for a new world where they're joined with the rest of that. But are you interested in the mechanics of how the fuck did all that happen on East? What was it like on East when they were fighting off, when they discovered that the Black Pearl was bad? Go.
Have you mentioned Eldine's yet?
No, we're gonna get to Eldine like in East 4.
Oh wow.
But
Eldine's aren't even talked about
We
until
just
like
finished
4.
East
one
two.
and two. Like, this is just, again, This is just what
all
Kingdom
up-
Hearts tries to do, except it's actually good.
All right. So we're going.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on.
Oh, just a quick question. As like games, did you enjoy playing East 1 and 2 a lot?
Yeah, East 1 and 2 are really cool. I think 2 is less good than 1. I say Magic is really like super powerful, but it doesn't mean the game's not fun. It just means that Magic kind of overrides everything. Bump combat is fun in 1. Some of the puzzles are a little obtuse. Some of the puzzles are a little obtuse, like the one with the Claria I mentioned before. And but like overall, they're really good games. I think they might be my favorites, but I'm not sure. But yeah, those are really good. So in the timeline, technically the next game is East 4, Memories of Celceta. However, we need to talk about East Origin and the Nepishtim system. So gameplay really quick. So the Nepishtim engine works off of basically 3 basic elemental types: wind, fire, and lightning, which is gold. I don't have a gold marker. And so you use these magic abilities that work off of a meter and magical weapons and stuff. It's way more traditional. It plays a lot more. The merit. So
There you go.
where was it? It plays a lot. It plays more like Diablo than anything else, I would honestly say. But like you press buttons instead of clicking on enemies.
Yes.
You have combos and stuff and some aerial directions and stuff. The Nepishtim system is widely regarded as the most refined system once we get to Origin, but because 6 and Oath and Felghana came out first, Origin was like the third and last game with the Nepishtim system before they moved on to making 7. But yeah, the Nepishtim system is really cool. In Oath and Felghana and Origin, it's a little funky in Ark of Nepishtim, but whatever. It gets its name from the game that introduced it, East 6, the Ark of Nepishtim. That's why it's called the Nepishtim engine. Anyway, moving on. East Origin.
What? How does East 3 have the Nepishtim system, but 6 came after 3?
No, 6 was released in 2003, 3 was released in 2005.
Why?
Why?
Remake.
Wait, okay, yeah, the remake.
Oh, it's one of the remakes?
So
Okay.
3 was re-released as Oath and Felghana. Originally it was called Dawn of East, but Wanderers from East, and so they re-released it as Oath and Felghana.
So do like all the games have cool subtitles?
All of them do. So one is called East Vanished Omens. Number 2 is called Final Chapter. This is called Wars and Wars. It's specifically referring to the single book,
Yeah.
but
it's
yes,
still-
it's a little fucked. So Origin is Origin, East Origin, and then East 4 is Memories of Celceta, and then before the remake, it was called Dawn of East and Mask of the Sun. East 3 was originally called Wanderers from East. When it was remade, it was called Oath and Felghana. East 5 is called Lost Sands of Kefin. East 8 is called Lacrimosa of Dana. East 6 is called The Ark of Nepishtim. 7 is just called East 7. Like, it's not even, I gave you Roman numerals here, but it doesn't give you Roman numerals. It's literally just called East and then the word 7.
I know, you fucking yelled at me on Discord about this.
Whoa.
East 9 is called Monstrum Nox. Monstrum Nox.
By the way, it sounds fucking epic.
Yeah, Monstrum Nox is the most recent. I guess I'll mention this now because we're getting to like the whole timeline now. Now that we have the primer that is East 1 and 2. Monstrum Nox is not out yet in America. You can buy a Japanese copy for the PS4 if you want to, but like it's not out in America. It's going to come out next year, February for PS4, and
Which
then
means we'll be back.
in the summer it'll be re-released for PC and Switch. If you guys ever have any questions about where you can get these games, almost all of them are on Steam. Obviously 9 isn't, but all the other ones are on Steam. And then if you like, I think a couple of them are on Switch. I think Origin is coming to Switch soon.
I'm never going to play a single one of these games.
That's fine. And so we'll talk about Origin. So Origin is a prequel that takes place 700 years before East 1 and 2, obviously. That's when East went up. And so Origin is the only game where Adol Christin is not present. Technically, East Origin is taken from one of the books of East. Go.
That was what I was going to ask.
Yeah. So Yeah, so you basically get 3 characters who have wavering levels of relevance depending on which campaign you use. There's 3 campaigns in the game. Each one's about 8 hours. Go.
Ys Birth by Sleep.
Kinda. Except I like this one. So, so the game has 3 playable characters: Unica Tova, Hugo Fact,
Yeah.
and Toll Fact. Or I kind of spoiled that, but the Claw. His name is the Claw. He has like Wolverine claws.
He's Vega.
So each represents one of the factions that actually entered Darm Tower to figure out what's going on with the goddesses, because the goddesses go missing, and basically the 6 priests, or no, not the 6 priests, but a group of sorcerers, a group of knights, and another third group go to Darm Tower to find the goddesses and what they're hiding. Go.
So, did someone build Darm Tower, or did it just exist?
I think it was just there because there's no like scene where they build it in Ys Origins.
So it's like this ancient thing. It's almost living.
Yeah, not living, but it's old.
It's always.
It's old and evil and magic.
So those 3. Okay, so I'll mention the third one, the Darklings, and they're also called the Clan of Darkness.
I wonder who the baddies are.
Not them most of the time.
Are we the bad people?
No, actually.
Yeah.
So the third character, Claw or Toll Fact, is the third playable character. You have to play one of the other campaigns first in order to unlock him. And his campaign is considered the true campaign, so I'm going to be using it. Just know that Unica and Hugo have their own character arcs that are going to be lightly touched in Toll's campaign, while extremely microscoped in their own. Go.
So you say that it's the canon patch. So are these like 3 different timelines? So it's not like Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, there are 3 different endings. The one that is canon is Toll's.
This sucks. I hate when that.
Shut up, you like Kingdom Hearts.
Wait,
So we're
fate.
it's not super jarring. Most of the events are the same.
What?
It's just that some specific events are slightly different and the ending's completely different. Go.
Why do you put fake endings in a prequel?
For variety, so that you can change the story however you want. Like characters die in the prequel who in alternate timelines, and that's cool because they actually die and stay dead. Go.
So essentially, it's not like the other 2 characters don't matter. It's just that the driving factor of the plot becomes the character you choose.
Right. So
And Toll's the
whoever
most
fights
based.
the final boss is going to be the character you choose, and so that's why it's 3 different timelines.
Oh, okay.
And Toll's the
So-
most based.
Yeah, Toll is the Claw, and if I give you a brief summary, Unica's balanced, so she plays a lot like Adol does in the other Nipishtim games, and then Hugo uses magic orbs and his own staff to shoot magic at people, and then Toll is DPS. He attacks really fast and has low health.
So which one's your favorite?
Toll. Yeah, I'll talk about Toll's story exclusively. Unica and Hugo do have their own story. It is kind of based sometimes. Unica's story is great when it's basically about her becoming a solid knight inside the Knights of Ys. And then Hugo's story is about overcoming sort of his family pressures and his brother being evil and how he feels insufficient. So...
Well,
Wow, what a cock.
So, because this I've spoiled it already. Toll Fact is Hugo's brother, his older brother specifically. He's part of the Darklings when you play as him. And so, he was also the apprentice of Unica's dad, Saul Tova. And then, so Saul had died when him and Toll had gone to the surface to fight off demons. And so I believe Toll was taken up by the Darklings during that time to give him a little bit of a power boost, and also because they wanted to use him. Saul's death. So he jumped ship from the Knights of Ys over to the Darklings for the game. Toll, uses Wolverine claws. All right. So, depending on which campaign you choose, you get a different opener. In Toll's campaign, you get an opener where Rhea and Fina are kind of looking at the land of Asteria, and it's kind of fucked. It's like desert, lava, mountains, volcanoes, everything.
4 elements.
Like Nevada?
It's just Nevada
It's
and
just
Arizona.
It's just Nevada and Arizona if they had a baby called Ysera.
Colorful.
In Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah, it's covered in lava and demons, and they're just like, this looks fun.
Once again, Australia.
So they wondered if they waited
No,
too
no.
long to seal the Claria, and like if they fucked up, and they feel kind of bad about it. They also find a Claria sword that that belongs to Toll, and they're like, and the sword kind of like glows, and so that means Toll's still alive. And so they knew Toll personally and Unica personally as well.
So like Clarion weapons can like bond to its owner in a way that like
Somewhat, it's only touched on in this game. It's never mentioned in East 1 and 2, and it's
That's
only
so
mentioned
cool,
in Oregon.
That's super awesome. Cool.
Oh yeah, Claria also shouldn't break, so that's another big thing. It's a broken Claria sword. It's like it supposedly
so
should
this
not
is
break.
like the breaking of Captain America's shield.
Yeah,
no,
almost.
it's like the breaking of the sword from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Rhea seems
God.
Rhea is a tad more bumped than Fina that Toll is dead.
The sword is called Anduril.
Sorry, I did forget it.
Underreal, yeah. All right. So Toll starts out at the top of Darm Tower. Yeah, we're already here. We can finish the game. No,
Where's Darm
Dallas
Tower?
is like, hey, the goddesses are in the tower. We need to find them. You're gonna start from the bottom and work your way up. Okay. So the Darklings are Dallas, who's the leader, Zava, who's a demon sorceress, as we mentioned before, and then Zava, and there's a third guy. Oh fuck, he's not plot relevant at all. You fight him once, he's like way more important. He killed Saltova. He's way more important to Unico's story than Toll's. Go.
Wait, is this the same Dallas from East 2?
We'll get to that.
Wait, what?
I hate that fucker.
He's
So-
such an asshole.
He's back.
So, Toll meets more and more people as he moves up Darm Tower, and as he's talking to like the Knights of East and the magicians and sorcerers, they're kind of like, "Yo, you used to be on our side. What's going on?" And he's like, "I'm evil now. I have all this power. Fuck you." And so it turns out him being a fucker is a bit of an act, and we'll get to that. But he even pretends not to be interested in his own brother, which is kind of fucked.
I'm not
'cause-
interested in my brother. Like,
That's what you insisted.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, so this is a cool moment. The trap in East 1 where Adol gets stuck there, it's still there. You have to still break it. So in other campaigns, you get a blue amulet that does the same thing and you break the trap. In Toll's campaign, you turn on demon mode and just walk through.
Wait, what? Demon mode?
Yeah, so there's a mechanic in Niv Piston games called boost. And so the boost means you take less damage, it means you do more damage, and you're a little faster.
Okay.
And so
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I call a boost.
And so specifically, boost usually just like like a little glow around your character. We're told it's basically double trigger. Like he turns it on and he turns into a demon.
It really is Devil May Cry.
Dude, if I could do one on Devil May Cry that was more than like 30 minutes, it'd be awesome.
DMC.
Yeah, Toll's just acting like a fucker to everyone. That's a lot of these notes. Oh, Epona is also one of the Darklings.
Is she
Epona?
Epona? Yeah, no relation.
I hope not.
For those of you uninformed, Epona is Link's horse from Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, so Epona is one of the Darklings, and she's like whatever. She has like a little love thing with Hugo, Toll's brother. They like fall in love over the course of the game. It's weird. Oh yeah, so Rhea, Fina, and Toll had like a casual relationship. Rhea and Toll specifically seemed really into each other. Weird. Especially none of that happened. No. So but yeah, Rhea and Fina through flashbacks when you end a section of the game, there's a flashback as you begin the next section. And so you start learning more. They have like a casual relationship. The goddesses didn't want to be treated like goddesses like most JRPGs. And they're like, treat us like normal people. And Toll's like, okay, whatever. Moving on. Hugo and Toll meet, and it's later revealed that Kane Fact, Hugo and Toll's dad, had basically told Hugo, hey, kill the traitor. Whoever there's a traitor among us, kill him. And so
It's his brother.
And so Hugo's like, I'm gonna kill you, Toll. I'm ready to kill you. And he really does actually try, and you have to beat him. And so after you do that, no, you don't kill Hugo. Hugo lives throughout the whole game.
That's good. I'm probably focused.
Yeah, Toll kind of taunts him, the one-on-one combat, blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, so the other Darkling is Kishgal. Kishgal is not very important. He killed Saltova. He's like, literally every cutscene he'll walk in and be like, hey, I want to fight a strong dude really bad. See you later.
The worst trope.
Like, honestly, every time, Kishgal is terrible. I don't like him. He's stupid.
Wow.
Do you ever go to Trona?
No, you don't go to Chona. So Toll, as he's going up, actually finds Fina, but not the Black Pearl, which they're also looking for. So then once he sees Fina but no Black Pearl, he's like, Rhea has the Black Pearl. Okay. The meeting's cut short. Zava shows up and is basically like, "Hey, good job, Toll. Kill her." And then Toll's like, "Okay." Then a member of one of the groups that came in, one of the East groups that came in, he's like, "Hey, don't do that," and so you fight him instead. Zava teleports Rhea to, Rhea. Toll defeats the guy that came in and interrupted everything, and then Zava teleports Toll and Fina to Rado's Annex, which is a section off of the tower that's basically works as a prison. Turns out Dallas needs Fina for something.
Measurements.
Shut the fuck up, Magnus.
Which are what? Did we get...
All right.
Become as gods.
So the Darklings start interrogating Fina. Where's Rhea? Where's the Black Pearl? They're in the tower. We know they're in the tower. Tell us where she is. And she's like, I don't know where she is. They had split when they had entered the tower. You can't break the prison that she's in. It's too tough. It's made out of magic. I think the Topps priests show up, and they're like, and they take hours to just dispel it.
Raiden, this is dark fact.
So let me see here. Oh, so he mentions that they are a group called the Darklings, right? And she mentions, oh, Fina's like, oh, so you're the ones who activated the Ark.
What?
The
Anyway.
arc
Just continue. Yeah.
of
Oh, that's
Ishlim?
Wait,
You go.
were they Nazis in World War II against Indiana Jones?
No.
Fucking bad.
Yeah, so they activated the Ark.
This
They acti-
is the wall breaker.
Dogi?
Hell yeah.
Dogi has a multiple of designs, yeah. That's even in the original game, yeah, probably. Or probably E3, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Dogi's a bit of a Chad.
Except he doesn't fuck. Dogi, like, there's a literal running meme where Dogi's like, Adol gets all the girls and I don't.
Aww.
Poor Dogi.
Does he get all the men?
Second
No.
banana, right?
Wow.
Second banana, indeed.
Not base, not pill.
Alright, so, let me see here. Fina gives Toll Rhea's harmonica, which Toll had given to her as a gift. And he doesn't even know how to play it. He's also frustrated with Fina because she's acting like they're still friends, and Toll's like, no, I'm a bad guy. Treat me like a bad guy, mom.
So
And so, go
My
ahead.
mom, I'm a
all
bad
of
guy.
this-
I can't eat
it
mac
seems
and
like
cheese.
it seems like this guy's doing a lot.
cookies.
It seems like this guy's doing like a lot of wobbling between like good and bad. Like, is this handled well?
It's kind of, it's more of an implication like he's here, but he's not here for the right reasons.
Like, is this like entertaining to watch, or is it just this fucking annoying man
You're kind of-
being like?
It's not a Kylo Ren situation where he's jumping between. It's more like he's frustrated that the goddesses specifically treat him like he's a friend when they have no idea what he has planned, and the player has no idea what he has planned until much later in the game. Go.
For Fina, it's breast 84, waist 56, hips 85.
Inches?
No, yeah,
It'll be centimeters.
This
Centimeters.
is a Japanese.
I'm American.
Inches?
I'm young.
Yes, he's about the size of a small planet.
Look, I don't know. Look, all I'm saying is if that all scales, best girl.
Oh my god.
You can look up Tarst measurements too.
No.
No, don't look up the boys' measurements.
Don't.
Don't look up the boys.
The CIA will come in here soon.
Yeah, so he just expected that they would condemn him, and he's kind of frustrated that they're treating him like a friend still. Toll basically has a plan that requires him to become demonic and betray Ys, but it is ultimately a good plan, like to stop the Darklings. Go.
So people can become demons?
Toll specifically can. He's basically partially transformed into one. He's basically half demon.
And my second question
He's
is
literally Dante.
And my second question is: he called Darkfact because he is a member of what Clan of Darkness?
No, that's just
No. He's just called Darkfact because he's evil and he's from the House Fact. You don't actually get his first name, but no, he's not part of the Clan of Darkness. Darkfact specifically is him.
More like dork fact.
Yeah, got him.
Toll finds Saul's flame sword, the fire element. Toll finds Saul's flame sword, and he gives it to Unica, his daughter, because it's her family sword. Unica thanks him. She also there's also some miscommunication where she thought that Toll had killed her dad, but it turned out it was Kishkal, because Kishkal's a fucking asshole.
Who's Kishwell?
Exactly. So
Oh, he's the strong guy who's a cuck.
yeah.
Oh, yeah!
Again, he walks into every scene and goes, "Man, would be nice if we could fight because you look strong, but I guess we won't."
What a dick!
Like every scene.
And he killed
The
some
only
guys.
scene that doesn't end that way is the one where you fight him.
It's like we truly
It
were
doesn't end with him
strong.
dying?
Yeah. No.
Bad
Actually.
game.
Unica
Bad
kills
game.
him. Unica kills him.
Yeah!
Dope.
So as you travel further up, you actually find Rhea. Rhea's like, "Hey, Soul, why are you acting like a bitch?" Like straight, like Rhea is one of the only people who absolutely sees through Toll and asks him straight up questions like, "What are you doing here? What's going on? Why are you acting like a bitch?" Toll kind of breaks down and he's like, "Well, if I absorb enough demonic power into me, I can destroy the Black Pearl and die at the same time. Win-win." And Rhea's like, "That's a bad idea.
Okay, Millennial.
Don't do that. We have a better plan." And Toll's like, "A better plan? What else could you do? What else could you honestly do?" And then he slowly
Fucking
figures out,
yeet.
oh, they're going to use their bodies to seal the Black Pearl off. But that means that you're going to use all your power. You're not going to live anymore. The conversation's kind of cut short.
My God, I really wishes he could fight
He
you.
shows up and is like, "Man,
No.
I just want to fight you.
okay, see you later." My mom's calling me for dinner. Bye.
I fight you.
Yeah, so
But when I come
specifically,
back,
Rhea also mentions that they know who the traitor is and that they know what they want. They want to have wings like they do. Oh, I should have mentioned. Rhea and Fina both have wings, and they use them. They're a sign of their god status, basically. It means that they have immense power. And so when geez Louise, Magnus.
Stop. We'll just wait till someone goes and takes a piss, alright?
We'll take a break right after Origin, I promise. So what? So yeah, they're after like wings to get wings, basically. Like wings. I was gonna make a joke, but it's not.
why don't they just drink a Red Bull?
You're so insufferable. Oh my god.
Why don't they just drink a Red Bull?
Worse than sitting in a movie
I
theater.
don't know.
I was
Red
like,
Bull
this
gives
is
wings.
Shh.
Sorry, we're not sponsored.
And you just. Alright. Sorry, this is just a long game.
It's okay. It's all good. We're having fun.
So yeah, basically, Toll is like, well, I'm not a huge fan of that plan, but I'll keep moving up the tower. And so Rhea kind of leaves. She kind of fucks off. And then Toll keeps moving up. Hugo meets up with Toll. They kind of have a heart-to-heart moment where he's like, I know I've been a bad brother to you, and I'm sorry about that. You're the one who should definitely be the basically follow the family line. Like, you should be chosen to represent House Fact. And so, because you're way more magically talented than anyone here.
This man is the facts.
Hypothetically, if I was the
So
patriarch.
he's like, so they fight a little, or I don't think they fight there, but he's just like, hey, you have power, you're cool. I'm sorry that I'm not a great brother to you. And Hugo's kind of like, fuck, dude, don't have to be nice to me. Shit.
Fuck that.
He's like, well, he's kind of like, come on, man, you can't be nice to me. I wanted to kill you like 5 minutes ago. And so Hugo gets intercepted by Dallas, and Dallas is like, hey, man, you said some cool stuff about like, internal power and your potential. It's all bullshit. He has demon power. You don't. And so Hugo is tempted to get demon power.
Man, Dallas is an asshole.
He really is, though.
He really is an asshole.
Like Darkfang at least
Is
has his
Dallas
name.
the worst person in East, or are we going to come up on someone terrible?
Ernst is kind of bad, but he shows up so late. The more of the characters later on are morally gray. So like Ernst does do some bad things, but he's not like super evil. He, like apologizes. A lot of villains end up apologizing, but not Dallas. Dallas is a piece of shit.
Sorry about the Holocaust.
Sorry.
He was only following orders, guys.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Slavery was kind of awkward.
So yeah. Basically, Rhea also tells Toll when they meet up again later in the tower, though, she's like, hey, we can use the Claria harmonica you gave me and use it in order to pull power from our wings and seal off the Black Pearl. Isn't that a great idea? And he's like, bitch, I gave this to you as a gift of my love. And you don't get to use it like some fucking tool.
And you want to use it to save the world from demons?
What a bitch.
What a bitch.
Truly a bitch.
Is this just his slow journey to being a MGTOW?
So
The very sad self.
Hugo comes up and he's demon possessed and he's super strong now and he fights them.
Oh no.
He also steals Rhea. Dallas explains to Toll, he's like, I knew you were a bitch the whole time. We knew you were a double agent. Fuck off.
And all this happens inside the Tower of Dharm.
Yeah, the whole game takes place in the Tower of Dharm.
Holy shit.
They're just different. It's just obviously differently structured because the whole game is in there. But yeah.
Hugo shows up, goes ape mode, steals a girl, climbs a tower. Where we heard this before.
So basically, he takes them to the top. Toll fights Kishgal and Zava, but because the demon power is starting to grow at the top of the tower, because Dallas is doing his shit, even though he beats them up, they get a second wind and come back stronger. But luckily, in Kishgal's case, the Knights of East show up to suppress him, and in Zava's case, the Sorcerers of East show up to suppress her.
When you finally have 5 levels in Fighter.
Yeah, finally. You meet up.
Freaking JoJo.
No, that was Mega Man X, dude.
I don't know. I was just thinking of songs to pass the time. Hugo, he sees Hugo later, and Hugo's trying to kill Epona. Like, he's strangling her. Like, not like with his magic, he's like fucking killing her. And so Toll's like, don't do that!
Do we get her measurements here too?
No, we don't. You don't. That joke is exclusive to East 1 and 2. They never
Damn.
Damn.
You can't joke about anything anymore. These damn SJWs are taking the child measuring out of my games.
When are we going to crash another boat? I miss the boats.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're not in Adol territory yet again. We're going to get to Memories of Celceta, and then we'll talk more about Adol and his adventures.
Adol, the boat crusher, Yoshi the wall crusher.
He just looks like
More like Adol, the
dumbass.
fulfiller of prophecies. Holy shit. Except East 4 doesn't have... Never mind. He basically fights Hugo to a standstill, and Hugo's like, I've been a bitch, and then his demonic presence leaves him. Dallas holds Rhea captive for a little bit, and then he's like, I'm big and strong, you can't fuck with me, and then Toll's like, you're a bitch. And so Toll uses a magic ring to basically break a super barrier. The magic ring was given to him by one of the goddesses, so it makes sense that it would be able to break a super barrier, but whatever. Go.
Is that the same ring Adol gets?
No.
Exactly what I was going to ask.
No, it's not.
That
Sorry,
would be
guys.
cool.
But yeah, he basically breaks the super barrier, and he meets up, and he beats he beats Dallas.
Dude, we're gonna break in like fucking 10 minutes, dog.
More like 3. So you beat Dallas, and you're like, I played the other campaigns. The game ends.
Psych.
The game's not ending.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
So it turns out Dallas is subservient, yet again, to someone else. Kane Fact. He's
Your dad.
yeah. Toll's and Hugo's dad is a fucker who's trying to use the Black Pearl to cause a new demon revolution.
So he's the dad.
Basically give himself a ton of power. And Kain isn't like an old man. He's a powerful sorcerer. There's a lot of magic you see in the game. None of it compares to what Kain is able to do. He basically takes, in the fight, he basically takes you to another dimension where he moves Earth around to fight you. Like, it's no meme.
That seems sick as hell.
This seems fucking dope. Is this the original Priest of Ys? Or...
Yeah, he's one of the 6 priests.
Holy shit, this is fucking awesome and sick and cool. This is cooler than anything else you've told me about this game so far.
Wait, what about the Lava City?
I said this game.
Oh, this game, yeah.
But yeah, so
Takes place in the tower.
Yeah.
Kain is a fucker, and he's just destroying shit. And so they decide, okay, we gotta beat Kain, but we can't really do anything because Kain is covered in this Claria armor, and they don't have any Claria weapons.
Oh no.
Except Fina and Rhea come in with Toll's old sword, now fixed, and Toll's like, thanks, man. Now I'm gonna use this sword to kill my dad.
That's so dope.
This is so fucking awesome and
Devil
rad.
May Cry 5.
No, it's literally like Lord of the Rings. The elves reforged for you, Aragorn.
All right,
Oh my God.
so Kain gives a Toll like a "why you suck" speech. He's basically like, "You aren't attuned to magic. You can't do anything magical. You're basically a waste of a son, and I don't love you, and you're a piece of shit."
Here, whack.
Exactly.
His foot stance, whack. The way that he talks,
The way that you're related to me.
whack.
He doesn't even say Hugo's a better son. He's like, "You're both like parlor trick
Wow.
mages compared to."
You
Oh
are
my
both
God.
subpar.
I mean, this is like token Evil Dead shit, but he's also fucking rearranging the continents to beat your ass. So he's like, I'm
All
gonna
right.
remake Pangea on your fucking balls.
So Kain merges with the Black Pearl to attack you, and so it's actually canon that Darm is Kainfax still. That you fight in Ys 1 and 2, Darm is Kainfax still.
Sick.
But
That's actually rad.
you manage to suppress Kain, and then the goddesses are like, okay, Kain has been defeated, but we also need the Black Pearl to stop working. So we're gonna stop the Black Pearl by taking a big sleep. Go.
So is the Tower of Dharma also the Tower of Facts?
No, it's just Darm.
Oh.
So he names it. So it was the tower first, then the pearl. Like then the guy.
So was it just called-
Yeah, I may
Tower?
have fucked that up earlier. It was just called. I think it was still called Darm Tower.
Big fuck off tower.
Yeah, it was called Darm Tower or the Tower. It might not be called Darm
The
Tower.
lodestone chode.
It's not a big deal.
What the fuck, Magnus?
All right. I say full demon. That's not right. So Toll, the goddesses, Toll is basically wiped out from beating his dad, and so the goddesses are cheeky fuckers and decide to seal themselves away with the Black Pearl. And Toll can't do anything because he can't fucking move anymore. And so Rhea says goodbye, and they're both very sad. And then they both seal off the Black Pearl. Because they seal off the Black Pearl, Toll's demon powers go away and he becomes a full human again. All
How
right.
did he get demon in the first place? Is that ever explained?
So while he was fighting with Saul on the ground, they went searching for something. They went on some secret mission. And so with Saul, they were fighting demons. And as they were fighting demons, Saul died, and then the Darklings took him up and gave him demonic powers.
Right. But before we kind of finish up Origin, I just have a question because all the lore of like the island of Ys and Claria and Darkfact and all this shit is like essentially like localized to this one little fuck off island.
Yeah, the rest of the games have nothing to do with this.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about that.
Well, they have
like, is there a lot of like folk? Like, how does the rest of the world react to being like, oh, this place with a lot of like mythic legend and cool weapons and shit is just fucking walled off?
It's
Or does
never
anyone
talked
care?
about. It's never talked about.
Wow.
Like you go to other nations and they know that Adel has done shit, but they don't like talk. They know that Adel has
They
done
don't, like,
impressive
appreciate
things,
lore.
but they don't. But they're not like, Asteria just had a whole massive island just drop back onto it, and it's now integrated and being a part of Asteria. Yeah.
Well, isn't there like a war going on between Rom
and Altago are still
like,
at
people
war.
are busy doing shit, and this is behind the storm wall, right?
Yeah, this is behind the storm wall, although the storm wall goes away once East lands.
So essentially, it was all secretive, and then like he's like, but Adel didn't brag about it,
Yeah, Adel's not a fucking idiot.
and so it still kind of remains as folklore because the Romans are assholes. Yeah, no, all that tracks.
So Toll is turned back to Origins, or Origin. It's called East Origin, not East Origins. Not East the Origin. It's just East Origin. Anyway, Toll is now turned back to a full human, and so they decide to split themselves off. Some of the humans are going to remain on Asteria, and some of the humans are going to live on East. Toll decides to live on East and actually writes about these events in the Book of Fact. So I think it is Toll's statue that you meet in East 1 and 2, but I could be wrong.
I hope it is.
It's also the sanctuary of Toll, so that would make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like the rest of the facts are a bunch of assholes.
Cool.
Yeah, so that all integrates. That's most of the Asteria saga.
And also, Toll in German means awesome, so he's awesome fact.
Fun fact. He's just
There's
fun
a
fact.
guy in this game named Awesome Fact.
It's true
Fuck
though.
this.
So, and then, so with all that covered, all that leads to East 1 and 2. The only reason I presented it this way is because some of the reveals in East 1 and 2 are kind of ruined here. Fiona and Rhea being goddesses, stuff like that. But next up, we have East 4, The Memories of Salsetta, which we will get to after a break.
I remember like.
Anyway.
Never mind.
I just had to I have to resync. Sync! Anyway. So, East 4. So East 4 takes place in Salsetta, which is right around here. East 4, Memories of Salsetta, is a remake. East 4 is actually really interesting. Go.
Why are you covering 4 before 3?
That's how it takes place in the timeline. I'm going linearly now.
Okay.
So, East 4 takes place 1 year after East 2, and it was actually released, the original versions, Dawn of East and Mask of the Sun, were developed by different people. Falcom had basically given those people an outline and said, hey, we're busy, we're not going to make an East game, can you make an East game for us? So, Tonkin...
What were they busy doing? Losing money?
I don't know. They were probably busy making a Trails game or something. But,
So yes.
So yes. So they made 2 versions using the same outline. So one is called East Mask of the Sun, East 4 Mask of the Sun. That was developed by Tonkin House. And then East 4 Dawn of East, which was developed by Hudson Soft. So big names. Hudson Soft, actually, not the other one. It had bump combat. It was cool. Mask of the Sun is actually a really bad game, but Dawn of East is supposed to be really cool. But Mask of the Sun was considered canon because they held closer to the outline that they were given by Falcom than Hudson Soft. Like Hudson Soft ended the game with Adol marrying Lilia and having kids with her. And Falcom can't have that, so they need to make the rest of the series.
Has to be a Verge.
It also took place after 3 instead of after 2, which is not what they wanted anyway. But in any case, Falcom decided to make their own East 4. Long time later. And so they made their own East 4 for the PS Vita. It's called Memories of Salsetta. The game opens and Adol's wandering around a town without his memories. He has amnesia. The only thing he remembers about himself is that he's a swordsman and that he's good at slicing things up. That's it.
all he needs to know.
That's all he needs to know.
Honestly.
Go.
How did he lose his memory?
It's explained in the game.
Okay.
It's not. It's not. He didn't bang his head or something. There's like magic involved.
But luckily, he's the only red-haired character in this entire series.
Yeah, but he's not well known at this point. No one knows about him. So the he doesn't.
Yeah, he only just like basically reclaimed an ancient city in the sky for our people and stopped the storm wall and shit. No one knows about him.
Yeah. So
Who the fuck cares about that guy?
So he's wandering around a town called Canaan in Salsetta. He meets up with this guy named Durin who says he knows Adol previously. Turns out that Durin is actually a part of the Clan of Darkness and is trying to protect Adol, which is revealed later. But it's not a big deal because we're going to get through this really quickly. I tried looking up more details about this game. I played it back in 2018. Basically, the main plot of this game, Salsetta is a big forest and the big ocean. Like, that's it. And so most of it's unexplored. one of the quests in the game is actually exploring all of Celceta, so it's like a full game quest where you get like 100% coverage. And you also want to look for Adol's memories. Well, you go to some towns. Sorry. You go to some towns in Celceta where they're like, "Hey, Adol, you fucked us up. We're gonna imprison you, like immediately." And so you solve their problems. You meet a couple of bad people. One is called Bommy. She's a witch, and the other is called Gruda. That's actually Gatus, and he's a beast tamer. Go.
Two things. Bomby, hot.
Yes.
Not beast tamer. What?
Yeah, he's a beast tamer. He like finds animals and domesticates them. He's specifically attacking a specific Sparta. He's attacking a specific creature that lives in Celceta called Spartas. They're like seafaring creatures that you use to get to the water temple in that game. You also meet a member of the Roman army in Canaan called Gruda. He's like, "Hey, Adol, I think I've heard of you. Stormwall, Asteria, right?" So he's part of the Roman army, which is why he knows what the fuck's going on. At least, that's more of my implication from it, because no one else knows who Adol is, but since he's a member of the Roman military, it would make sense that he would be privy to information other people were not. Go.
Just because I'm curious, is the technology level like supposed to be more reminiscent of like a high, like there's no like tech?
Yeah, there's no TVs or anything.
Yeah.
Like it's very medieval, or not medieval, like pre-medieval, like Rome.
Alright, so alright.
So
I mean, honestly, technology wasn't more advanced in the medieval age.
But do Roman soldiers look like actual like Lorica Segmentata?
No. They mostly wear cloaks.
Oh, okay.
Ernst has like a cool fencing sword, and we'll talk about him later.
We don't have to talk about it. His name is Ernst.
He's the main villain.
His mom
Okay, so as you solve problems throughout the town, again, we're just flipping through this. As you solve problems throughout Celceta, Adol gets some of his memories back, and you sort of gain more as the game goes on. And you learn about this place called the Tower of Providence. Great, another fucking tower. And so you go to the Tower of Providence, and you meet a guy named Eldeal, and he explains to you, and he has wings, by the way, and he explains to you, "Hey, my name's Eldeal. We met before. I kind of like, it's mentioned that he may have gotten rid of Adol's memories, but he wasn't supposed to get rid of all of them. He was just supposed to get rid of a few. Oh, I think he specifically, we'll get to it. But he shows him something, and then he specifically wanted to take some of Adol's memories away. But he's like, "Hey, I'm Eldeal. I'm part of this race called the Eldine. We have been pushing technology for the Europeans for the past, 200 years. Go.
So they just say, "Fuck the Africans."
Yeah, Afroka doesn't really see the Eldine.
Damn.
They have different deities.
Wait, so are deities regional then?
Somewhat, yeah.
Well, that's super cool.
There's go.
So is this dude a god?
Yeah, this is sort of bringing this up. The Eldine are Rhea and Fina are also Eldine, and we'll meet one other Eldine character later on. But they are very frequently referred to as gods. That's why I wanted to talk about that specific moniker. They aren't omnipotent, and they do have limits. The only thing that sets them apart is their physical bodies last forever. And they do have access to large amounts of power, and they know how to make specific materials that are important to the plot.
They can make MacGuffins. Got
it. Yeah, kind of.
I work at McDonald's. I could make a McMuffin as well.
So yeah. He says he's helping humanity advance. He also mentions that he has specific access to something called the Akashic Records, or the blueprints of the world. The blueprints of the world allow you to see into the future, somewhat. You can change destiny a little bit, but yes, you can see into the future, and then you can also alter aspects of the Akashic Records, like rewriting history, like giving yourself powers.
That's fucking awesome.
Seems pretty powerful. It's a good thing that Eldeal, a nice guy, has it, rather than someone malicious.
Luckily, that
So
won't
it's
change.
literally like if you saw the book, you can rewrite it. Like I was born with a huge.
The main villains.
That's exactly.
The main villain's plan is to make humanity better than the Eldine. by rewriting the Akashic records.
Based?
So
I got the right idea, right?
What?
I got the right idea.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
So-
You can rewrite history
so-
to change the present changes based off what you write. Yes.
So, not to get all weeaboo about it, but it's sort of like how Rohan from JoJo's Part 4, he can write shit in you that's physically impossible but still happens.
Right.
Like if he writes I speak Italian, then they just learn Italian.
Are the towers kind of like a Tower of Babel-esque thing where they're
It's like
trying to become gods or like trying to meet gods?
No, it's where Eldiel lives. It's just a
You
tower
build
because it's implied you build it with the help of people. Eldiel has a couple of people who follow him. They all live in this town. What is it called? Highland. They live in this town called Highland, and they all kind of like know Eldiel. Funny meme. You find Adel's grave there, and they're kind of like, "What the fuck?" I forget how that's resolved. I think it's like they thought Adol died because like he left and never came back, and so they're like, "Well, he's probably dead."
You went to the store wall. That dude's fucked. I heard they got demons and shit there.
Yeah, so it's implied that Adol
Yeah.
explored quite a bit of Celceta and then got amnesia. So he's kind of retracing his steps a little bit. Bami, Gaddis, and Gruda, the Roman general that you met earlier, are attacking Highland, looking for something called the Mask of the Sun. The Mask of the Sun gives you control of the Akashic records.
Right,
And-
Sol Invictus.
So do you have to have the mask to alter the records?
Correct.
Even if you're an Eldine?
Yes.
So then,
So
Eldiel only has the
Eldiel
mask.
doesn't have the Mask of the Sun.
Only has the book, so he can't do anything with it.
No, he can't alter the Akashic records at this time.
That's dope.
Because he doesn't have the Mask of the Sun. Oh, I should have mentioned, Eldiel has a dark personality that's like a sickness in him. He gets black wings and like basically becomes immediately malicious to anyone stopping him. When you meet him in the tower and he kind of has this flash moment of it, he asks Adol for the Mask of the Sun, and Adol's like, "I don't have that shit." So, Bami specifically gives people replicas of the Mask of the Sun, obviously imperfect, but they do give you quite a power boost. And so, and they use that as sort of an army to like wipe out towns.
Fuck.
Durin then leads you to Danon, which is a town of people of the Clan of Darkness. We'll get back to them later.
What is the Clan of Dark?
So the Darklings are a part of it, and now this whole town of Danon is a part of it. The Clan of Darkness are a group of people. They're basically a clan of people whose ancestors had made a great sin, and that they had. And then so some of them feel remorseful, which is most of Danon. Durin is one of those people. You also meet a girl named Frida with like a little fairy friend, and she's also remorseful for those actions. And some people just want more power. And so we won't learn what sin they committed until Ys 6.
Jeez. So it's like
Prince of Egypt.
well, no, it is kind. It sound. I don't know. There's a lot of references to like the Bible and shit.
There is some, but
Like in
there's never.
JRPG.
Honestly.
Okay, the Mask of the Sun is in Danon. They find it, and so really quickly, the leader of Danon does tell you that they sunk an ancient city, but doesn't really elaborate.
What?
I'm picturing like a fucking weird like. So why are your entire people like?
No, it's literally like, welcome to Danon. This is the town of people whose ancestors sunk a city and defied the gods. Like literally, that's
What
how you
fucking
meet.
base
That's
epic cool introduction.
That's how you meet the leader. Like that's what he tells you when you meet him for the first
Hey,
time.
Welcome to Dan.
well, we've got really nice like breakfast here. Our hotels are really nice. We sunk a city into the ground once.
Don't fuck with
Don't
us.
fuck with us.
this is like the Cookie Muhammad bit. I am a registered sex offender.
Let me see. So they find the Mask of the Sun. Then I think Gruda shows up. Yeah, Gruda shows up and takes the Mask of the Sun and decides to go to El Duke where the Akashic records are. And so it turns out that he's working with Eldiel's dark personality as well. So you're kind of fucked. It also there's also a creature called a Soul Galba, and it's just important for later, so I'm going to mention it now. It's a Soul Galba, and we'll talk about it once we get to this game and that game. So 3 and 6. Yeah, so at El Duke, they basically say, hey, you can't come in. And they basically put a magical barrier so Adol's group can't get into El Duke.
No gingers.
No gingers. Yeah, so you meet a character called the Grand Rue. So I mentioned the Rue before. They're basically a demon, little demon things.
They're like the Heartless.
But there's a Grand Rue, and he's like the size of like a person. And so he tells them, hey, there's this thing called the Mask of the Moon, and you can use it to both get into El Duke and then seal Eldine's Eldiel's bad personality.
I'm glad it does specifically this.
Yeah.
So it's like the mask. Who made the masks?
It's never explained.
Yeah.
It's implied that the Eldine created it, and the same thing with the Akashic Records. It's implied that it is either primordial, like it existed before time, and it just is an aspect of the world, or the Eldine created it.
So the Eldines are just.
The Eldine are technologically advanced to the point of being like above everyone else.
Again, like any good JRPG.
Mm-hmm. So you have to go to previous dungeons and fight Balmy and Gruda, or not Gruda, but Gaddis for the parts of the Mask of the Moon. Once you get all of it, you go into El Duke. Once you go into El Duke, you fight Eldiel. You basically seal away his bad side. Let me see here.
Bad vibes.
Adol also defeat Gruda, who is using the Mask of the Sun to bring the Akashic Records into his being.
Why do we want to become magical items so badly in those games?
When you just osmosis.
I would say, so I mentioned this to you, but I will say the theme of the first part of Ys up until like about 6 seems to be that when people start fucking around with powers that they don't understand, you're gonna get fucked.
Like any good JRPG.
Once we get to like 7 and 8, it's more about reincarnation and like, are we really worthy to like keep going? Should we just reset this shit? Fuck.
Wow.
Like,
I was thinking like, oh, so like Buddhism, and then you're like, are we worth going on?
Sure,
like,
we
not Buddhism.
So, Eldiel and Gruda are defeated, but the team decides to use that the Mask of the Sun is too powerful to keep around. So they go to a volcano and drop it in. Adol specifically goes and drops it in. He's actually stopped by a shade of Gruda, who you have to fight as the final boss, but then you defeat him, and Gruda's defeated forever, and you throw the Mask of the Sun into the volcano.
Adol has no like temptation.
The volcano erupts.
Destroy it.
Yeah, throwing the Mask
While
of
Adol's bombing around up there?
the Mask of the Sun being thrown into the volcano will cause it to erupt. That's established, and so Adol throws it in, and it erupts. He's saved by the Soul Gaba being headed by Eldiel. And Eldiel's like, at that point in the game, you have almost all of Adol's memories. You're missing just one. Go.
So Adol was just like, yeah, I'll fucking die.
Yeah, no, for real. So Adol, so Eldiel is like, I'll give you back your last memory. And so he gives it back to him. And so Adol is given a memory where he's told he's not merely a swordsman, but an adventurer, which is a title that he keeps for the rest of the series.
Wow.
Wow.
So, some small things. One memory actually reveals Dogi. Dogi's not really in the game until you get that memory. They mentioned that they went to Celceta to get more Celcetan flowers for Dr. Flare, but Dr. Flare had some sort of got caught up in some sort of timetable, and so Dogi and Dr. Flare are in Promalock, and Dogi was like, "All right, Adol, you're gonna have to stay here by yourself. Don't get up to too much."
That's a lot of shit.
Happens.
And then the rest of the game happens. So because it's not explicitly mentioned, no boats are crashed, no walls are crushed.
Why do you even have these counters? They're just staying at one.
Dog, you're just blue balling us, dude.
Alright, Ys 3 time. So Ys 3 is called the Oath of Felghana. It's because you go to Felghana, specifically the town of Redmont, which is where Dogi grew up.
Hey!
So Dogi is in the game the whole time.
Finally.
He actually plays an important story role. So Dogi goes there. So first things first. As they arrive in Redmont, there used to be a statue of the goddess of good travels. It's been broken.
Oh no, that's like cutting the dick off a herm.
Yeah, it's
What?
I hate that I know what that means.
No, herms are weird shit. Keep going.
yeah. So they're like,
I know what you mean.
oh, this might not be a great time to come in. It turns out the town is infested with monsters.
Oh no.
God damn it.
Is there anyone around who has like experience dealing with that sort of shit?
Anyway, go.
Are monsters and demons the same thing? or-
No, specifically Black Pearl creates demons. Specifically, the monster in East 3 creates monsters.
We broke the Black Girl, right?
Correct.
Fucked it up.
Yeah, we really fucked
I
it up.
put my girlfriend in a car.
It's actually Asteria like fails to have magic in the same way that it did before because you broke the Black Pearl.
That's actually really interesting.
Never touched on.
Never mind.
That's cool.
So Adol and Dogi are like, why are there monsters here? And so you meet up with some of Dogi's old friends. Dogi had left Redmont like 8 years ago to be his own man or whatever shit, and so went to Asteria and was a part of the bandit crew.
Yeah.
And so
Stormwall.
yeah, and so he had to punch through the storm wall. And so the
could we add the storm wall to the list of walls crushed?
no,
What?
Because Dogi doesn't break it.
Dogi doesn't break it.
Damn it.
It's remaining at 1
Is
for now. Go.
Is Crash Boats specific to Adel?
Crash Boats is specific to Adol, although in this game they do land safely. Trust me, we are going to fuck up some boats later on.
I feel so fucked.
You should.
So blue pilled, man. I just want boats breaking.
So, Adol and Dogi run into Elena, who is one of Dogi's old childhood friends, who immediately takes a liking to Adol, meaning that Dogi is cucked yet again. And so Elena mentions that her brother, another one of Dogi's friends named Chester, has been missing for 6 months, and they don't know where he is. Let me see. So while they're in town, Dogi's like, I don't really know why there's monsters here. I'm going to go to my old master, the guy who taught me how to do shit. I'm going to talk to him and see what's going on. He lives in the Eldar Mountains in Felghana. And so Dogi goes there. And so while Adol's kind of bumming around in town, the mayor's like, or no, not the mayor. People are like, the mayor's trapped in the quarry. Someone needs to save the mayor in the quarry.
Lassie, where's the mayor?
No meme. A guy comes out of the quarry like, I survived,
Holy
but
shit.
the mayor and Dewey are still in there. Dude.
Guys, we have as soon as the mayor's trapped in the corner. Fuck, what do we do? There's that red hair guy. There he is. There's get him.
So
Nobody
they
still like the new mayor.
Gingers are respectable.
Wait,
They're
who's the mayor in
respectable.
the quarry?
they were exploring it to see because a lot of the monsters were coming from the quarry. So
I
they
say
were
the mayor.
they were exploring the quarry to see what was causing the monsters to be there.
Oh, so the mayor's just trying to be cool.
The mayor's trying to be cool, but he's an old bitch and can't take it. So
Damn.
Adol goes into the quarry, and so he fights a big monster in there. He fights a couple monsters. He saves the mayor, fights a big monster, and gets a weird dragon statue. Weird.
That will be important, right?
It glows.
Is it a bad dragon?
Shut the fuck up. So he runs out and he notices some blonde guy like sticking up the mayor, saying like, "Hey, the Valestein Knights told you to close this quarry. It's under investigation. You can't keep it open." And
What?
then, what?
Who?
The Valestein Knights. Valestein is Valestein is over here.
Oh, wait.
No.
Valestein is over here. It's in Felghana. Basically, there's a count of Valestein, and he's controlling. Shut the fuck up. And so he was put in place to basically rule over Felghana, but he's been doing a shit job. He's just been high taxing people and working them to death.
Valestein and
Go.
Osriel.
Is it? I was gonna ask who's next to Grisriel.
No. It's not supposed to be Palestine because I think it would be more culturally appropriate because it's very European.
Where's the
I mean, it is
Strip?
right in
What?
the area.
Where's the
of
Gorza
Poland,
Strip?
so-
I want to know where Koba is.
Shut the fuck up. Demerits all around.
Get heckled.
Demerits. So it turns out the blonde kid is named Chester Stoddard. And hey, that's Elena's brother, who went missing for 6 months. Apparently he's enlisted himself in the Valestein Knights. Weird.
Some other country? Alright.
He's just quirky like that.
Adol, I think Dogi or Adol tells Elena that her brother's now a part of the Valestein Knights, and so she's kind of like bummed out by that, but whatever. Because he didn't tell her anything. He just disappeared. So then the priest, Father Pierre, goes missing in the Ilbern ruins. They ask Adol to go find him. So.
These guys are just getting lost constantly. What asses?
So he's in the ruins, and as Adol approaches him, turns out Chester's sticking him up for shit. And Adol's like, hey, Stop that. And so Adol fights Chester for a bit. Adol and Chester fight to a standstill, and then the rest of the Valstein Knights, including the Count, come up and are like, what are you doing here, cur? And so Chester kicks Adol into the depths of the ruins.
Fuck.
All right, this is the new Dallas. Fuck this guy.
Chester is a you bogus asshole.
Wait,
Would
oh,
you do
you
that
also-
to save you?
kind of, it's implied. You find another monster down there, you get another dragon statue. You meet up with Chester, and Chester's like, hey, give me the dragon statue. And then Elena and Dogi show up, and they're like, yo, Chester, what the fuck, dude? You didn't tell anyone that you went missing? And on top of that, you're fighting just random monsters all the time? What are you up to? And then Chester's like, I'm just trying to make something of myself. Dogi did the same thing 8 years ago. And so Dogi kind of feels bad for that one. And then Elena is just still like, but you're still being a dick. And then,
Don't you work with bandits and help stop demons? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
There's fucking bandits around.
Yeah, the bandits are so cool. I miss them so much.
so she's like, you're still being a bitch. What are you doing? And he's like, I'm not here to take care of you my whole life. I'm going away now. See you later.
Chester has the tiniest little penis.
Chester's a bit of a fucker for the first half of the game. All right. So Adol tells the mayor about the statues that he's been collecting, and the mayor's like, I think I've seen one of those on a mural in the ancient mine below the quarry.
Where I was trapped.
So he tells Adol, hey, you should go down into the quarry, into the ancient mine, and look at that mural yourself. Adol goes into the abandoned mines. Really hard level, by the way. It's fucking difficult there. So he talks to, or he doesn't talk to anyone, but he does come up to an ancient mural with the dragon stones and starts hearing a voice. The voice is like, hey, there used to be a big monster that came here and defiled the land. Actual quote, I think. Yeah, defiled the land and caused a bunch of monsters to show up. The monster was called Galbalan. Is that still recording?
Oh yeah, 2 hours and just
Okay.
tired.
So the monster is called Galbalan. Okay. Galbalan was sealed by me, Genos, the hero. And I sealed him away and defeated him. Now you must do the same because Galbalan's coming back. And so he gives Adol the ability to double jump, and then you leave.
You must defeat him! His power is immense, far greater than
He
mine!
literally says, here, take a portion of my power.
Double jump.
Adol gets the double jump.
I'm gonna be honest. If that was what I got out of the thing with an ancient hero, I think I'd be pretty happy.
That'd be nice.
No, real life, if I walked into like an ancient Greek temple and then suddenly I could double jump,
Yeah.
Pretty dope. But at the same time, if that was like, there's an ancient evil coming, and you must use this portion of my power to defeat it, and I can jump like an extra
You could
6
probably
inches.
beat Galbalan without double jumping. Anyway. So, you use his sword. Anyway. So Adol comes back. In the abandoned mine, by the way, there's another giant monster that's holding a statue. You take it.
so by now you have 3 of these things.
Yeah, you have 3 of these things. There was 4 on the mural.
Ooh.
And so he comes to the mayor and he's like, so I heard about this Genos guy, Galbalan, and he's like, yeah, that's like an ancient myth that I hear about. It's like a folklore tale. It's really nothing more. It's cool.
Then he pops out of the ground under you.
And then
It's just a folk tale, like that floating island up north.
he also mentions that there was a land, there's an island north of Redmont called Genos Island, like where his descendants were supposed to live. And so he says that the island was basically ravaged by disease and like everyone there died.
Oh man, definitely can't picture that happening anywhere.
Yeah.
It gets better when we actually learn what happens.
I like my escapist fiction.
So the mayor, like, running out of options kind of is like, okay, I don't really know that much about the story, though. You should probably talk to Burhart, who lives in the Elder Mountains, Dogi's master. I should probably mention Dularn. Dularn is this magician guy who keeps showing up and blocking your progress a little bit. He's like, hey, stop moving, I'm going to beat you up. And then you beat him up, and he's like, okay, bitch. And then he leaves.
I'll be back.
Yeah, basically.
Like some fucking
Do it,
halfling.
you won't.
He summons Furies at some point, and he's just like, fight the Furies. Go.
Where's Dogi been this whole time?
Dogi was with Berhart in the... Or no, he couldn't get to the top of the Elder Mountains. So he tried getting there, but then he came back to town, learned that Chester was being a fucker, and then came to the Ilbern Ruins, where Chester was sticking you up for the 2 dragon statues at the time.
Is he just traveling with Adol this whole time?
At this point, I think he went ahead of Adol into the Elder Mountains to talk to Berhart again, because he was trying again. And then Adol follows after him, basically.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Berhart drops the lore on Adol.
Fuck.
He's like, hey,
Pulls out the book.
hey.
Absorb this.
Okay, so what I've learned, because Berhart's basically been researching this shit for a long time, and so he's like, what I've learned, Genos,
Berhart gives this presentation.
Genos could only weaken Galbalan. He couldn't defeat him completely. So he sealed him in the 4 statues that you have. And then those 4 statues were put in places that you shouldn't be able to find them.
And if you breathe
And
in,
You can full on degrees.
And, well, I mean, like, they're in a ruin, they're in a quarry, they're in, like, at the bottom of a mine shaft. Like,
Here, we'll put
So
this
it's
place.
unless you're-
We'll put this thing in a place
And-
that things are designed to be extracted from.
and he left his descendants to protect them.
They
So,
fucked up, isn't they?
Yes.
they're
Are they-
dead. They were on Genos Island and they were killed
Oh.
by disease.
I feel like that wasn't a disease.
Let's get Galbalan away.
Yeah.
Okay, so Galbalan is in those 4 statues, but the 4 statues aren't perfect, and they're starting to leak the energy from Galbalan. That's why monsters have been showing up.
they're leaking monster juice.
True.
Clap that strikes back.
Goldfish.
All right. Adol meets up with Dogi in the Elder Mountains, by the way, and you fight an ice dragon. Not with Dogi. Dogi, like, is stonewalled by some sort of progression.
We can crush the wall.
But, like, it's a big jump that Adol makes, and then Dogi can't follow behind.
He never learned how to double jump.
Yeah, it's true.
Interrogate the great ability of Genos.
Or have the wind amulet thing that lets you, like, stay in the air a little bit longer.
Oh, that's cool.
Epic.
As you beat the ice dragon, you're locked in this room, and there's no way out. The only way out is like this pile of rubble, but there's so much rubble and so heavy, and no one could ever break it. Dogi
Man.
breaks the wall.
Who could do it?
Ah!
All right, Dogi breaks the rubble. He even it's canon. He broke an entire rock with his bare hands. This man is unaided by anything other than his bare hands, and breaks a rock.
I would expect nothing less.
He has one goddamn talent.
He's only-
Damn, does he do it?
He's only playable in one game. It's kind of fucked.
This seems so cool, though.
Okay, as they leave, Adol and Dogi leave, and then as they leave, Chester sticks up Adol again, like, because he got the 4th statue, and so, from the ice dragon, sorry, I totally missed that. He gets the 4th statue, Dogi breaks a wall, they leave. Chester sticks up Adol for all 4 statues, and this time he's really serious, and he's not going to get interrupted, because Dogi's already there. And he's like, give me the 4 statues. Dogi's like, motherfucker, what are you doing? What do you want the statues for? And he's like, they're orders from the Count. And Dogi's like, no, they're not. What do you want the statues for? And Chester's like, all right, time for the real shit. Chester reveals that he was born on Genos Island. Him and his sister, him and Elena were. Genos Island was, by the way, that was 12 years ago that Genos Island was wiped out. I should mention that. So he was born on Genos Island, and he reveals Genos Island wasn't ravaged by sickness.
5G towers?
There were monsters wearing human armor, killing people.
Damn.
Berhart also explains later that there were soldiers outside of town, and anyone who was trying to leave were immediately killed.
That's
Fuck.
fucked.
It is fucked.
I'm glad you agree.
So, Chester tells them that his theory was that Maguire had enlisted a dark sorcerer to cause the whole situation. So Chester is going to try to use the power of the statues in order to stop the Count and kill him, basically.
Vengeance.
Vengeance. So he's in for a revenge.
I mean, he's cooler now.
No,
He's a
still
little. He's still a little fucked up because he doesn't just want revenge on the Count. He says specifically he wants everyone in Valestein Castle to burn in hell.
Fuck.
Like, that's a direct quote.
He's
they did
slowly
try to do
getting
an
more based. I thought he was a small dick bitch at the beginning.
They did do an ethnic cleansing.
Big, bro.
They did
He
try
doesn't
to get rid
coach
of an entire people. To be fair,
Don't give
He
up.
called
Don't give up on
Valestein.
Chester yet. Chester's still our boy. I still like Chester. So Chester is like, give me the statues, Adol, and Dogi's like, no, Chester, we can go back home. We can figure something out. We can defeat Maguire, but not by like just murdering everyone in the castle. There's better ways of doing this. Chester's like, there's no coming back for me, dude. I can't do that. He stabs Dogi.
Oh! Alright, there goes all the fucking.
oh my god, well, God, immediately.
So he stabs Dogi, and he's like, and he takes his opportunity well. Adol, if you don't give me the 4 statues right now, I'm gonna stonewall you until Dogi dies. And Adol's like, yes. And so Adol gives him the 4 statues. And so he takes Dogi back to Berhard's house, and Berhard takes care of him. But yeah, Dogi just got like fucking stabbed. It was kind of a big moment for me too when it happened in the game. I was like, oh shit, Dogi just got stabbed.
Wow. Got ganked in the showers.
Yeah, it's for real though.
Huh?
So yeah, Berhard takes care of him. This is the scene where Berhard reveals that he was a Valestein Knight, and he had and he was killed, and he was ordered to kill everyone who was leaving the village, as well as a bunch of other people.
But they changed it to Valestein,
the
not Valestinian.
Yeah, it's whatever. So he was a Valestein Knight, and so as people were leaving, he noticed Chester and Elena, and then.
I'm sorry. Kyle just Salvador Dali his mustache.
So he Berhard noticed that Chester and Elena were leaving, and he couldn't bring himself to kill them. So he took them to Redmont, gave them to the Mayor Therese, and then went to Elder Mountains to live because he knew that the Count would have him killed because he wasn't following orders.
Team Rice left in the Temple of Soul.
So he also taught Dogi and Chester how to fight. So Dogi can crush walls, and Chester's also a master swordsman because of this dude.
This guy seems like
So,
Go.
like, I thought that Chester was just like some chump, like, and Adol could like easily defeat him, but he's actually pretty skilled.
We'll talk about their second fight does end, but there's some.
I was worried about that. I thought it would go on all the way to E7.
No, the second rival is there. Anyway.
Is like Chester a cool rival?
Chester, he's cool, and he does
It's
he does something nice at the end of the game, but yeah, he's a bit of a fuck.
Does he like
Does
fight
seem like a
similarly
bad
to
piece of
Adol?
shit.
He's literally showing up constantly, exactly like Dallas did.
He is pulling Dallas hardcore.
But he has
Dallas.
human motivation. He wants revenge.
To be
Dude.
fair, the Valestines are pretty bad.
Yeah, but like, still a bitch.
They did try to kill everyone on Genos Island. An
Yeah.
entire group of people.
Yeah. Still made
All right.
though.
All right, so Redmont. So Adol's like,
No.
okay, I need to know what to do next. So he goes to Redmont.
That's good.
So one thing I'll mention, by the way, Redmont is the one town in the game. So what's really cool about Redmont is that like the NPCs have like arcs. Each NPC you talk to has an arc in Redmont as the game progresses. So if you talk to them regularly, you'll sort of see them grow as their arc continues.
So it's sort of like Majora's Mask or like Xenoblade
Yeah, sort of like
Chronicles.
Majora's Mask. I think one of their Trails game had done that beforehand, and so they basically yoinked it for.
Super cool.
Like in Xenoblade Chronicles, this same thing happens like in Colony 9 and all these other settlements and shit.
Yeah, so you sort of get like that impression from just that one town, and then so Redmont is being attacked by Valestein soldiers. It turns out they don't look quite right. They look like possessed. They don't talk. They have white eyes. Like they don't look right, and so
That's normal.
he has to tell Elena, Chester's a bad guy. He just stabbed Dogi, and it's really fucked up, and I don't know what to do about it. But we'll see what we can do in the next bit. So Elena's a little fucked up about it, and so as Adol like talks to the mayor to see what needs to happen next, Elena leaves town, and then the villagers are like, Adol, can you go find her? And so it's I think through some manner you learn that Elena went to Valestein Castle, and so you go to Valestein Castle to find Elena. Yeah, so I'll mention the bishop now. The bishop has sort of been there a little bit. He's basically the the patron saint, I guess. He lives at Valstein Castle as like the guy who runs the church there. You have a Father Pierre who lives there, who lives in Redmont, but he lives in the castle. The bishop. Go.
So is there like a large kind of continental religion that's sort of common throughout the land, or is it more like regions have their own sort of faiths and followings?
It's more like regional, because Alma is the god here. Fina and Rhea are the goddesses here. We have like the 5 dragons here. Like all of these have different gods. Here, like there are no gods, but there's like the Eternians and they're Lacrimosa. Go.
Fuck this anime bullshit. Tell me about the 5 dragons.
So we'll get to it in E7. So
Oh my god.
so Adol goes up. He gets his 4 statues back in Valstein Castle. He talks to the bishop, who's like, "Yeah, Chester seems really fucked up, and I was trying to help him, but he's not really doing what. Why did I write a note about the bishop?
Is he the bishop?
He later is. So go.
2 things. First off, is the bishop the guy that we saved from the?
No. That was the Father Pierre.
Okay. And second, how did Adol get the 4 statues back?
So they were placed in a clock tower. It's later revealed the clock tower has a power, like, is connected to something called like the spirit vein of the whole country, and so they were basically going to use the dragon statues to basically raise the whole country, like just destroy it, like destroy it.
Oh, like destroying the Mako or like the live stream.
Yeah, sort of like
This is
that.
Majora's Mask.
Destroy everything. Reference to Final Fantasy VII. This is Majora's Mask. Anyway,
That's still
So-
hell.
so you get to the top. Chester's basically right about to kill the Count. Adol stops him, and then later recounted as one of the most intense sword fights of his life, Adol manages to defeat Chester.
So cool.
Adol's gonna do some shit later on by himself, like canonically by himself with no aid, that makes Chester's feat of putting him to a near standstill actually really fucking impressive. So, just gonna mention that now. 7 has some weird shit. Yeah, we find her in the waterways. Doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, he finds Elena in the waterways with a couple of other people. Go.
Alright. I'm going to ask you something that will probably determine how cool I find this franchise as a whole.
Mhm.
I really like in like fantasy stuff when people get like reputations for doing cool, awesome, badass shit constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a game where that happens? Or do they just kind of brush over all the cool shit that happens?
Adol is known by the Roman government by 6, and by 7 he's a local name. Like people know who Adol Christin is, and at supposedly 9 he's like near famous.
Yeah, like
Near famous. He's not famous. He's just.
Well, I mean, like relatively. So like when he's dead, everyone knows who Adol Christin is.
Okay.
When he's alive, it's not as popular. But by 9, he literally has to disguise his appearance, or else people are gonna find him out. Like he has to take precautions.
So it's kind of more of a slow burn of progression, rather.
Yeah. It's definitely a slow burn because in 1 and 2 he's basically a nobody fuck you, and then as the games progress, he slowly becomes more and more renowned. Especially when he starts doing shit.
Giving him magic items
When he keeps doing shit like shit like stopping this and stopping that, like all across Europe or Eurasia. In any case, all right. So Chester, the Count gets away while Chester and Adol are fighting, and Chester like tries to kill the Count yet again. Then the bishop shows up. He's like, "Hey, I killed your people. You're a fucker. I've been manipulating you since the beginning. We're gonna bring Galbalan back, the one true god." He says that quite a bit. He refers to Galbalan as the one true god, and so he uses a portion of his power to basically bitch slap Chester and Adol. And he's like, "Fuck you, I'm out," and so he leaves. He goes to Genos Island to go resurrect Galbalan.
Very Devil May Cry.
Like, what?
Very Devil May Cry 3.
Kinda, yeah.
So Gavilan is basically Xeno.
Galbalan is explained later. So Adol and Chester got bitch slapped, and they're like, "Well, fuck. Chester is way worse for wear than Adol is," and so Chester's like, "This is my family's sword, and it's the only thing that's going to help you fight Galbalan here." You take it. I'm too weak to do anything.
Damn.
And then Edel says, "I know," spits in his mouth.
Oh wait! Right before that, they're like, okay, Chester, since you're a descendant of Genos and we need that for our ritual to resurrect Galbalan, we're gonna take you. Chester's like, and then Elena says, no, I'm gonna go instead. You leave Chester here. And then Chester's like, what the fuck? And so Elena gets taken away to Genos Island as well.
I'm evil. You're supposed to not do this for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like Toll.
Yeah, kind of. But except Toll had like a plan from the beginning, and Chester's plan is immediately like shit on. So
It is a bad plan.
it is a very bad plan. Listening to the bishop was a bad idea. So you go from
Just like in real life.
Redmont to Genos Island, and you fight Dularn, who ends up being one of the sisters that you talk to, one of the sisters of the church. And so when you kill her, she basically tells you that the bishop was like a normal guy, but one day he went to Ilburn Ruins and came back completely different. That's all the background that he gets.
The DMT.
While Adel's leaving, there are monsters attacking Redmont. However, Burhart and Dogi are there to make sure that... Or no, Dogi's not there. But Burhart is there, along with all the cavalry in Redmont, to fight off those monsters. Dogi actually sails Adel to Genos Island and collapses once he gets there because he's been stabbed.
Just about to ask.
Man, Dogi's so cool still.
When he gets on a boat, he calls himself Dogi the Wave Crusher.
Oh, yeah. What happens to that boat?
That boat is safe.
Oh.
Damn it.
Let me see here. So Adel makes it to the bottom. He beats up the bishop. The bishop's like, "Fuck you, Galbalan's way stronger than me." Then he goes down, and then Elena's like being like having her soul sucked or some shit, and so she's like, "Adel, you can't do anything. I'm already like he's already waking up." And then Chester comes in, like out of nowhere, saves Elena, and is like, "Adel, beat up Galbalan." And that's what Adel does. He beats up Galbalan. Galbalan's probably one of the more intense final bosses of Ys. Usually the final bosses are a bit of a bitch. You're just like so overpowered you destroy them. But Galbalan is probably the second hardest boss fight in any Ys game I've played. Number one is definitely 7. As you defeat Galbalan, he's weakened again, so he is going to wake up, especially since the ritual has already begun. So Chester's like, guys, I know what to do. So Galbalan's weakened right now. There's a specific ritual that we can do that will blow up the whole island, and that will cause Galbalan to die.
I'm glad he
Elena is like, well, I mean, it's implied that it was given to him by his like parents. He's a descendant of Genos, or in some sort of information. Anyway, Elena's like, wait a minute, how are you supposed to activate it? He's like, I need the Genos sword and the 4 Genos' old sword and the 4 statues, and it's like, wait, how do you activate it? And it's like, well, I'm gonna kind of stay on the island. And so, as it blows up, so Chester's definitely gonna die. And so Elena's like, no, you can't do that. There has to be another way. Chester's like, there just isn't though. And Elena's like still protesting him, and he's just like, boop, and he knocks her out. He's like, Adel, take my sister out of here. And so,
as that happens, Adel pulls out the measuring tape. Like, oh, okay, puts that away.
Domestic violence.
So it's implied that he didn't like hurt her, but he did knock her out.
He didn't hurt her, he just knocked her out.
Yeah, I don't know, some Vulcan Nickpin shit. So he's like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. Thank you for taking care of my sister. Tell her I'm sorry. And so Chester activates the ancient system and basically blows up Genos Island. As the game ends, Dogi asks Adel, hey, Elena feels pretty terrible about it and only says goodbye as we're leaving. Demerit. No, demerit. So Adel's leaving, and Elena's pretty heartbroken, so she's not talking to anyone really. But as Adel is leaving, Elena says goodbye to him. Oh, and before you leave, Dogi asks, hey, I want to stay with my friends here for a little bit, so maybe on your next couple adventures, I just don't have to be there. And Adel's like, okay. That's the end of Ys 3. Ys 5 takes place in Xandria and is an abortion. So Ys 5 was never re-released, and it was never released in English. It's called The Lost Sands of Kefin. It's really like ancillary. I'm going to cover it exactly like this. So it's just, It's very ancillary. There's a kingdom of Kefin that you need to find in the sands of Xandria. Adol finds it. Good news for everyone. You also meet a pirate named Wladek and his daughter named Terra. Okay, is everyone cool with that? Lost Sands of Kefin? Lost Sands of Kefin is debatably canon because it hasn't been remade and it was never released in English. Go.
Did we lose any walls or boats?
I don't think so.
Damn.
Man,
It doesn't matter then. It doesn't matter.
They're not canon boat losses or wall crushes?
Oh yeah, I guess I should talk about this real quick. So in Ys 4, Dawn of Ys, the original version of the game made by Hudson Soft, there's a joke scene. You're locked in a prison again and Doki breaks you out, right? And so it's revealed, no, it's not canon anymore. Doki breaks you out. And so you start walking out with him and like a kid that Adol was saving. And so, no, you don't measure him. And so, you're leaving the like prison dungeon, whatever you're in, and then as you're walking through, you're starting to see Doki just crushed walls all the way through to get here. And then at one point, no, they're not canon, Victor. So as he's crushing walls all the way through to get here, you come to a doorway, and the kid's like, "Isn't this doorway unlocked?" And Doki's like, "I don't think so. It must be locked, right?" And then the kid goes and opens the door, right next to a hole in the wall that Doki had just created. And so Doki's like, "Whatever, come on."
I'm so pissed this isn't canon.
And so as you're leaving, it wasn't canon back then either. As you're leaving, the final joke, of course, the way into the dungeon is just an arched door. Like, there's no door, it's just an arch. And that's open, and there's an immediate hole right next to it.
I can't believe that's not canon. It's so good.
It's hilarious.
Why isn't it canon?
Dawn of Ys was not canon because Hudson Soft decided to do something a little different with the story than Falcom was looking for. And so even though it's a much better game than
Mask of the
Sun, it's not canon. In any case, Ys 8 technically happens before 6. So I want to talk about Ys 8.
Oh my god.
I have very few notes on Ys 8 because I did not play it. Ys 8 starts and
Ends.
Game.
Yeah!
We got another boat.
That's what I like to see,
a
boys.
boat crashes onto an island in like where off of Greece almost. It's not called
where
Greece,
Greece
but
is.
it's where Greece would be in real life.
Malta. Malta's cooler
Malta.
than Greece.
Yeah, almost like Malta. Yeah. There they find a bunch of weird animals, or not animals, but monsters called primordials. And so Adol basically helps because he was on like a cruiser, so there's a bunch of like castaways there with him. And so they build another boat to leave. While they're building another boat, Adol is having dreams of this woman named Dana, and he doesn't know why. And it seems to be giving like weird information about a race of people called the Eternians. And they have a power called like Essence. Again, I didn't play the game, so I'm going to give you like the very Sparks Notes version of it. So as they learn more and more about the Eternians, they actually come upon their civilization on the island. And as they come upon the civilization, they learn, oh, there's no Eternians except for Dana. That's weird. Dana wakes up, she has no memories.
Of course.
Weird. And all she knows is her name, and that she isn't supposed to really be in this era, whatever that means. And so, as you progress further into the game, it's revealed that what are they called? Sorry.
Jealous.
Silence, fool.
What are they called? Okay, so there's a group of beings called the Protectors. The Protectors have this thing called the Lacrimosa. The game is called Lacrimosa of Dana. So this thing is called the Lacrimosa, which is, I think, French for tears.
It's Lady of Tears.
Yeah, something like that. So Lacrimosa, and what it does is it extincts races.
What?
It makes races extinct.
Fuck.
And so Dana's race of Eternians were going to be extinct. Now they don't do this like haphazardly, of course. They choose a representative of that race to live on forever.
Feel pretty fucked.
Dana thought it was so disgusting that this would happen to her people that she decided no. Instead, I'm going into deep slumber and ignoring it all. And so, the Eternians were killed through meteors falling on their island and causing a nuclear winter practically.
The Protectors are.
Oh,
What the
worse
fuck
than
are they
Dallas.
protecting?
There's like some balance or some shit that they're protecting.
Not worth it. Honestly, not worth it.
In any
This
case,
is Thanos to me.
in any case, funnily enough, humanity's next on the list. Everybody, Dana said that she would stay in a slumber until the next Lacrimosa occurs. The next Lacrimosa is targeting humanity. Funnily enough, Adol would have been chosen as the representative of humanity, which is actually the second time that happens. Well, I mean, the first time that happens, but the second time overall in the series. And so, Adol is chosen as the representative of humanity if it was going to be extinct. But Adol fights off, I think he fights the Lacrimosa almost? Yeah, the primordials that you meet on the island are supposed to go off the island and start killing humans, basically. Making the race extinct. So Adol...
So they just have a fucking
Adol-
genocide button?
Yeah, they do. And so Adol, Dana, and your group of castaways fight off the Lacrimosa. Dana uses her essence to disrupt the end of the world and dies in the process.
Aw.
She dies.
Sad, bro. Lacrimosa, please.
The goddess of the world, Maya, again, this is regional, but the goddess of the world, Maya, tells the group that because Dana died here and she's still supposed to be kind of a representative of the Eternians, has become the goddess of evolution.
Okay.
And then she's tasked with watching over the world, making sure it's continuing forward.
Goddess of evolution.
Dana says goodbye to Adol. The Protectors, by the way, give Adol a real nice message of, yeah, we won't do it now, but we might pull it off later. Like, no meme. They're
They
like,
must be the big bad. They are the most vile sounding fuckers.
they're like, yeah, you stopped us now, but we may consider doing it again in the future.
So why do they even fucking genocide people?
It's to keep evolution going.
They literally just told Adol.
We'll talk more about like this weird philosophy that shows up in 8 and 7, but like the 8 and
this is where
7,
the weird reincarnation
yeah,
shit starts.
8 and 7 starts being more about like, wouldn't it be better if we just restarted? Like, we're in a pretty bad spot right now.
Imprint game! Imprint game!
Shut the fuck up. So I hope 9 doesn't. I hope 9 explores more of the political aspect of things. But in case it doesn't, it's probably going to also follow the same trend of like there are these beings that are controlling humanity, or not controlling humanity, but like control like the nature, and they just like ending things, and they want to restart because humanity is not really impressing them very much.
So this is just fucking me playing Stellaris.
It's actually more like the ending of Final Fantasy IV: The After Years, where you meet the alien who created like all 4 crystals in Final Fantasy IV's universe, and he's like, "Hey guys, you've been doing an okay job, but I'm not impressed with you, so you're gonna die," and then you kill him anyway.
So definitely me playing Stellaris. Okay.
So
when do
anyway,
nerve staples come?
the castaways.
So what's human instrumentality?
Human instrumentality. Yeah. So the castaways finish constructing their ship. They sail home. They part ways. Everyone lives their normal lives. Or for Adol, he
So
continues the next
essentially,
adventure.
Adol and
Adol shows like 3 bumps.
these groups of like, I guess, are they like fighters or are they just like?
They're just castaways. A few of them can fight. You meet a fisherman and Laxia. She's like a noblewoman, and they can fight. Oh shit!
But they all
7.
fight to protect the world from the primordials.
Did we talk about 7's combat?
We did not.
We did
talk
not
about
talk
Oh my
about
goodness! I
7's
completely we met it in Memories of Cell 7. So 7 doesn't have elements. It has 3 like weapon types: slashing, like
Fisting,
punching,
bludgeoning and shit.
yeah, bludgeoning, and piercing damage. And so those 3 damages affect some enemies differently. So some enemies are weak to this, and weak to this, or weak to this, and then every other weapon type doesn't work against them. And so you switch between party members on the fly and just use those different weapons against them.
Smart.
And then as you progress in the game, usually in the late game, Adol is able to get weapons that use all 3 types because he's force deployed, and so you need to be able to like keep your party composition decent. If you want to use like different characters, because Dana's a slashing type and Adol's a slashing type, and so if you could switch Adol to like piercing or something, then you could have someone else in there.
Is like combat really like slow and deliberate, or is like really fast?
It's really fast. Like you're and you activate skills by holding L2 and like one of the face buttons, and so you'll basically be dodging, and there's things like the flash dodges and flash guards, which will give you bonuses where if you like guard at the right time or dodge at the right time, you'll get certain bonuses to your attacks. Go.
So it's like if Final Fantasy 15 didn't suck ass.
It's like, yeah, kind of. It's again kind of like Diablo-esque, I guess, but it's super fast. Like you're gonna be running around. Your dodge goes so far and so quickly. It's insane.
Is it DMC?
It's not DMC. There aren't launchers, and you don't get air combos and stuff. It's not super in depth. All right, E6 time. E6.
We got two.
E8 might have a wall crushed, so who knows? I have 30 minutes. Oh fuck, we're at like the big.
I thought you had an hour.
Let me see. It is currently
It's 2:22.
You have 45 minutes technically on the clock.
Okay,
Jesus Christ.
so we're at the big one.
Sorry.
E6 is the culmination of all lore because they retrofitted the rest of the series to fit E6. So at the beginning of E6, Adol crashes onto an island.
This is what I'm talking about.
So Adol crashes onto the Canaan Islands, specifically the archipelago. There's a big vortex outside the island that's keeping most people out. He basically took a ride with Laddock and his pirate crew. Laddock, who we met in Xandria, is a pirate. He basically took his boat over here with Dogi and Terra and a bunch of other people, his pirate crew. And so once they made it to the Canaan Islands, though, things got... a Roman ship started attacking them, and Adol basically was thrown overboard.
Oh no.
And so Adol lands on the Canaan Islands. He's picked up by these people called the Redans, who don't like the Europans very much because a couple of Europans do land on the Canaan Islands, and they are fuckers.
Just like real life.
Are they kind of like the native inhabitants?
Yeah, they're the native inhabitants. They have tails and have pointy ears. They aren't like furry, they're like human, but they just have like pointy ears like elves.
No. If you put
Yeah,
pointy
fluffy
ears,
tails.
if you put cat ears and a cat tail on a person, it's still furry.
Well, it's not cat ears. They're just like elf ears.
So I have so many notes on this. So basically, he starts. The first thing that he does is he meets like a couple of reading people who are nice. And a little girl is like who meets him for the first time is like sees like some vision of some terrible monster, and so she's scared of him. But she doesn't get lost, but she goes to like a little altar. And so as they get to the altar, so Adol also meets her at the altar, and then there's this giant Galbalan machine that attacks Adol. Adol uses his silver sword, which or not silver, but it's a steel sword that hypothetically he's been using all this time. It breaks in half. It snaps like a twig. Go.
Wait, robot Gavilan?
Yeah, it's a big Gavilan. It kind of looks like a robot. It's supposed to be all flesh, but it looks like a robot because the game.
Well, I thought we killed him.
Gavilan. We'll talk about that. So.
What?
So.
Chester died for nothing.
So.
No!
So Adol's steel sword. So Adol's able to fight off the Gavilan decently well. But his steel sword breaks, and then it's revealed by the Redans that only weapons made of Emelos can kill those creatures. What's Emelos, Jacob? Well, I'm glad you asked. So
What's Emelos?
It's fuck off. So Emelos, the way it's introduced is like just some special metal that makes weapons stronger and conjures the elements. So
fucking sick.
There's green or blue Emelos that causes wind. There's red fire is fire, and gold is lightning. And so they control the elements in different ways. And so as we move forward through the game, Adol's going to use Emelos swords from now on. He gets 3 in total to representing each of these elements. And so that's cool.
Dope as hell. Put it in the notes.
So yeah, let me see here. The chief of town is named Ord, and he's talking to Adol about how humans have been a bit of a problem. Let me see here. Okay, so he points Adol through a tunnel that'll lead him to the human side of Canaan Islands. They're basically split, and the only thing that connects them is a bridge, and the bridge was destroyed. And so there's a tunnel that leads to the human side of the Canaan Islands. Adol goes through there. As he's in there, a door opens up because he's holding a blue Emelos sword. And it kind of leads him further into the Canaan Islands. He meets a guy named Geese there. He wears black clothes and has a poleaxe. And he's like, oh, hey, Adol the Red, I've heard of you. Don't fuck around too much, eh? And then they fight a little bit. And Geese is like, you seem impressive, but don't fuck around too much, okay?
Is it spelled G-Y-S?
It's spelled G-E-I-S.
Dang it.
Okay.
Anyway, Geese is probably my favorite character that's not Adol Christian.
Because how could it be anyone but Adol Christian?
I mean, how could it be? Adol's pretty cool.
He's just
so we're all
man.
clear, like, he weakened a Galbalan with a steel sword, and that's it. And the creatures are only supposed to take damage from Emelos.
Damn. The
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. I have a bunch of notes, because I basically took notes as the game moved forward. Oh, when you get to the Canaan Islands, you actually meet Raba.
Who again?
Raba.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the Tower of Darm.
Yeah.
He came over here a couple years ago. It's been 6 years canonically since the Tower of Darm moment, so Adol's what? 17 plus 6, what? 23?
23. Nice
So-
and legal.
Yeah.
So Adol meets up with Raba. Raba's like, hey, I've been studying the local wildlife. I'm friends with the Regans. This is nice. And so Adol slowly learns more and more. He goes to... Oh, I may have gone too far in my notes. So at the top, they're like, hey, there's some problems with this mountain thing. There's something at the top of it that's bothering us. Could you go there and check it out? Let me see. Let me double check. Oh, okay. So there's a kid, Ord's son, the chief's son, is missing there. His name is and he's on the mountains. And so Adol goes up the mountains. He finds is like, hey, something weird is happening up near the top. Man, my throat.
Water.
Water break.
Stare straight at the
Shit
camera.
saving throw.
The water.
The water is life.
Oh, man. Okay. So is like, hey, something weird is going up at the top. At the top, you meet a fairy with like red hair, and she's like, hey, I've already sucked all the power from here. By the way, I don't really need you around anymore, so I'm gonna drop this demon on you. Adol fights the demon.
Wait, demon?
No, sorry, it's a monster. It's just a big monster.
I wonder when they come back.
They don't.
The reason Adol Red gets the title of Red is because every other ginger in the series is a bitch.
Yeah, it's true. So she's just a fairy, and she's like aligned with fire. But anyway, you get a fire sword from it that she refers to as a key. Weird.
Keyblade.
As you shut up. So the next thing that happens is, I think it's either Ord or Raba who tells you, hey, the next thing you need to go back into the cave system that you went into to get here, so that we're able to because there might be some further things that you can access. And as a player, you would remember there's a red door there that would obviously react to your red sword.
Red door, red sword.
Yeah.
So as you go through, they're called the Ruins of Time. And so as you go through there, at the end, you end up in an island called
Oh no.
Zemethan? It's a Zemethan shrine, but what's the island called?
That's
I
a
don't-
zoomer name.
There's an island in the middle that you end up in that no one really goes to because there's a vortex. But there you meet. There's a statue of a goddess called Alma who also has wings. It's a white statue. Go.
Never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but it wasn't gonna be funny.
Well, is it joke time? So the statue speaks to Adol, not literally, of course. You hear her voice, but the statue says to Adol, "Hey, you seem worthy enough. I'm going to give you the final key." She gives him the final key, which is a gold sword called Ekil, Eccil. And so you take that. As you're leaving, Geese shows up, and he's like, "Hey, you took all the keys." Well, that's fine. We can work with that. And so he goes into the altar, and if you go in after him, you see him like setting up these weird like pamphlets, and he's like, these are just insurances, just to make sure like no one's fucking around. Basically, he's covering keyholes that you had seen earlier in the shrine. And so he's like, yeah, we just want to make sure that no one's like fucking around with us.
Literal keyholes.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
Fucking paranoid.
So kind of like, I think they're just holes, but...
What is this Junji Ito shit?
So Geese is like setting that up, and he's like, don't worry, this is just like to make sure that no one's fucking around. And Adol's like, okay, whatever, I don't even worry about
How many more of those?
So you go back to Port Rimorge, which is the part of town that the humans inhabit. Yeah, it looks like they were able to repair the bridge, so that just means easier access for you. And also the Redens and the humans are getting along a little bit better now that they had to collaborate to fix the bridge.
Construction, the ultimate.
Oh
unit,
shit!
sorry.
I forgot the mirror.
Like
So,
Greyhound.
Adel, at the top of the mountain, there was a mirror called. There's this mirror that the Redens are missing that's required for their festival, and Adel's looking for it. It belongs to one of the characters that you meet, who's like a priestess of
Sarah.
Alma. Yeah, she's a priestess of Alma, and so her mother had passed down that mirror to her, and so it's broken in 3 pieces. When you go at the top of the mountain, you find a mirror piece. At the bottom of the ruins of time, you find a piece of the mirror, and then the next place we find a piece of the mirror. Yeah. You also in the ruins of time, you do fight another boss caused by another fairy who looks to be aligned with electricity, and she summons like a big metal monster to attack you.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'm not. I need to remember more of this. Anyway, so they. Adel is then tasked to go into Limewater Cave to see what's going on there. Limewater Cave is full of like weird monsters and stuff. And as Adel moves through there, he finds another piece of the mirror and another monster. This one's activated by another fairy that seems to be aligned with water. And so you fight that monster. Go.
I thought the elements, as it were, in this universe were wind, fire, and electricity, and not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's inconsistent sometimes. But yeah, she can use water sometimes. She seems to be aligned with water. Oh.
Is it like a thing where certain people have certain controls of, like, certain groups of people have different controls of different elements? Like humans can only use these elements, but other people can use other elements.
We'll get to that a little bit more, but no, typically MLOS works like technology where it's like a button you push and then you can summon wind.
Okay.
No.
All right, so as Dogi gets that final piece of the mirror, the whole Limewater cave system kind of caves in at the end, and he doesn't really know where to go, and there's nothing else there, and someone crushes the wall. It's Dogi!
Yeah! Back from dead, man. Good one.
Actually, Dogi was on the ship with Adel.
Oh.
He breaks the wall, and there's a little inlet where the pirate ship is. So Adel meets up with his pirate friends. Go.
When did Dogi and Adel meet up again?
Technically, it happens after Xandria, so after 5.
Oh, okay.
So he was in 8. He was the leader of the castaways, basically making sure that no one got hurt. But yeah. So after Xandria, Dogi meets up with Adel again. I don't know if he just it doesn't matter. But yeah. So he meets Ladok, One-Eyed Ladok, and his pirate crew again. They moved the ship over to Port Rimorge to get it repaired. As they get it repaired, Olha is the girl I mentioned who was like the priestess's daughter, basically. Olha, who needed the mirror, Adel gives it back to her. She's like, thank you. And then that's weird. Why did I take a note of that? That's not really relevant. I don't know. So Geese is in town with the Redens, in their town, and he's basically asking the chief, "Hey, where do your souls go when you die?" And he's like, it's like important information to him, and it's weird, and I don't know if it's brought up again. Like I may have missed something, but it might be brought up later. But in any case.
Do you guys believe in Jesus? Well, then I know where you're going.
So Adel goes back to Adel, when he gives the mirror back to Olha, they're given a vision of Zemeth's Sanctum, and a bunch of humans, including Rava, and a couple of Wait a minute, I missed something. Okay, so a guy named Boslam, who was basically a merchant in the Canaan Islands. And Rava are there, investigating shit in the Zemeth Sanctum. And so Boslam is just looking for a way to stop the Great Vortex that's preventing trade. Because he needs to trade to people, because he's a merchant and he's not making money anywhere.
Trade!
Makes a man big things
So then they discover Geese's little protections, and they're like, just take those off, dude. And so then the mirror stops showing you shit, and you're like, oh, I need to go to Zemeth Sanctum. So Adel goes to Zemeth Sanctum, and then he discovers Rava and the others are defeated by the 3 fairies, and they are they're there claiming to be keys, and that they're activating something called the Black Ark. And so they also mentioned that they're going to go back to their master at this point. The Great Vortex is calmed, and then the Roman ships start coming onto the Canaan Islands. So Geese shows up immediately after going, what the fuck just happened, dude? And so he's like, I told you not to fuck around with shit. And Bravo's like, it's not Adol's fault, don't worry about it. And so Geese is just super frustrated. And he's like, well, we still don't know where the final seal is, so we're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. And so, the Bravo confirms that the fairies are also called homunculus. Like, they are called homunculus. They're little fairies, but they're called homunculus.
Like any good JR.
And they're equally powerful to the Emelos swords that Adol has at that point.
Holy shit.
Okay.
He says, like, we need to just prepare for whatever comes next. Go.
Very important question. Are they hot?
Measurements.
They have like animal feet, dude.
Oh.
Are they though?
Which animal?
If they have
Like
to go to
hooves, not hooves, but
Describe
claws.
the feet in more detail.
Let me look up for you.
Can you draw a picture? Are there pictures?
No, you have a timeline. Don't look this up right now.
You guys want it? You guys want an answer?
Well, you can only see the top.
Yeah, we're gonna see the top.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come on, best part of the ship.
And you're a freak.
Well, they got coffee. That's fine.
You're freak nasty.
Gross.
They're also like the size like this tall.
Oh.
They're like, or maybe even smaller than that. But in any case,
Yeah.
so you meet. So
The ultimate.
Okay, so as the Romans arrive, they start immediately fucking shit up. So the Reden, half the Reden villagers were kidnapped, like as like victory of war shit. Like half the Reden villagers were taken, the other half were saved by Laddock's crew.
What are you gonna do?
As the Romans would do. I wonder what mutation
they're
they were
What do
specifically-
the real Romans do? That's all I'm asking.
What are you gonna do with all those villagers?
Chief Ord specifically isn't taken, but he is left like bleeding out. Adol has to basically help him repair or help him heal. Rabba also shows up to tell Adol, you know, Olha, and another girl, the little girl at the beginning of the game, they were all taken.
Oh no.
And so,
Not a woman
let me
there,
see
huh?
here. So Boslam's kind of mad at the Romans because they're like obstructing his trade. But it also
Is he the true libertarian in this franchise?
not quite, because Boslam immediately is like, hey, because he says it's for his trade, but it's really because he does care about the Redens and he wants them to do well. So they come up with a plan to get the Redens out of the Roman ships.
Not based.
Who is the true libertarian?
The true libertarian,
Pirates.
Adol, because he wants to live free away from the government.
He doesn't need a
Like
damn.
any good JRPG.
All right. So there's like a Roman commander. His name isn't really important, but you kill his little pet frog thing that's protecting Olha's cage, and so you kill his frog, and then he's
sad.
and then he's like, my frog, like he gives it a name or something.
Oh.
He just murdered his pet.
And so, but in any case, we knock him out, and then we take his key, and then open up all of his chests on his ship, because that's what you do.
All
in
the
ships.
chests.
I mean, do you want the treasure that is on his ship?
I mean,
Basically,
originally it was the Redians, but
you
they-
take
they don't
Olha
do that
out,
anymore.
and Isha, her little sister, the little one. Isha is with Commander Ernst, and so
he's
you
back.
can't save her. So let me see. You can't save her yet, so you have to leave the ships. Yeah, Geese knocks him out because he's like, "Where's Isha?" And he's like, she's with Commander Ernst. I don't know where she is. And he's like, "Damn it!" And he knocks him out. Go.
Do they crash any of the Roman boats?
Yes.
How many?
There's like 3 maybe.
Mark 'em.
That has to count.
They're not here yet. Okay, so we're not there yet.
Fine.
We get there when we get
All right. So then we're also shown a scene at Zenith's Sanctum where Ernst is preparing something with Isha. He mentions it's been a while since he's seen Alma, which is a weird thing for him to say because Alma's a goddess. He also mentions something about Geese being a part of his team, but Geese has defected. Go.
Is he a Darkling?
Yes, him and Geese are confirmed part of the Clan of Darkness, which we will learn about very soon.
What is with this game and sacrificing little girls?
Hey, sometimes you wanna
Using
sacrifice
his
little
black
boys.
sword, Ernst slices Alma's statue and breaks it. After Alma's statue breaks, the Great Vortex starts up again, and the Ark of Nepishtim rises out of the sea.
Oh shit!
That's so cool.
So the Ark activates. A creature takes out the entire Roman fleet. It's like 3 ships.
Hell yeah.
Yeah!
Doomsday weapons and shit, but what? What's it?
You love to see it.
You love to see it. The Romans are a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't change.
I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. All right. So there is. So Ord gives you basically an item to take you to the Ark of Nepishtim, underneath the sea. And so Adol takes the item, goes up to the Ark of Nepishtim. Olha shows up, and Adol rides a wyvern to get to the Ark of Nepishtim because there's a giant gap in front of him.
Okay.
Olha plays a song, and you ride the wyvern to the end. With Geese, by the way. Geese is there with you. Geese also tells you that Ernst is his brother, and he's basically came to the Canaan Islands to fuck him over and make sure his plan doesn't go through.
Oh, okay.
All right.
What a family
Yeah, I'm glad everyone is conveniently related to each other.
All right. So Geese goes ahead of Ernst, and they both and then Geese is destroyed. He's basically killed. Oh, you also find another Galboy in here.
Why did Chester die?
We'll talk about that in a second.
I miss Chester.
Again, Galboyans can only be killed by Emlos, and no one really had Emlos in Felgana, but whatever. Oh yeah, it's also the subtitle is the original Galboy. Weird. It looks to be the creature that also attacked the Roman fleet earlier. All right, we get to the lore dump. All right, so up to this moment, I was playing E6, and I was like, "Where's the lore? This is supposed to combine everything together." And then I was getting to the end, and I was still kind of feeling that way. Ernst gives you a speech at the very end that explains everything. So
sit down.
It's
I have a
this
lecture
exact
to give.
So
Before we begin, in what context?
you're about to fight him.
Oh.
He's basically taunting you.
Sit down. I have to explain some shit.
So-
Gotta pull up my notes.
So
You know what he does? He starts monologuing. He's got me on a platter, and he won't shut up.
So he tells Adolf, "Done some research on you, buddy. Your adventures are really weird." And it's also established that the Romans have. How far are we? Yeah, we should be fine. The Romans have information on Adolf Christen, just locked away. What time are we at? 7:21. Okay, yeah, good. So the Romans do have information on Adolf Christen. And so that's established. He's also telling him, "You seem to run into the Eldine quite a bit. That's a bit weird." I know a little bit about the Eldine. They were a civilization that were on a continent called Atlas. And
It must be
so,
America.
That might have been something.
and so they also founded the countries of Ys and Salceda. So it's implied. So it's implied that Fina and Rhea created Ys and Eldil created Salceda. That's why they're likely referred to as gods.
Become
All right.
God.
He also explains that many of the crazy, miraculous things that have happened to Adol have been mostly due to Emelos, but not the Emelos that we're used to, not the 3 elements. But there are 2 additional types of Emelos: black and white Emelos.
Oh.
Black Emelos has the power of the 3 other Emelos, as well as gives magic. White Emelos is used to control black Emelos, because if it's not controlled, it creates demons.
Just
Oh,
like
shit.
real life.
So that's
So the black
Black
pearl
Pearl
is
is
just
black
a
Is a
Emelos
piece is a
crystal.
piece of black Emelos, or it's technology using black Emelos. Yeah.
That's kind of rad.
Wait, so then the tome and the mask is also like the same thing, right?
Yeah, the Mask of the Sun is likely made out of Emelos, and the Akashic Records might not be Emelos. It could be like something that existed
But the Mask of the Sun probably is like white
probably
Emelos.
is to interact with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in any case, so the Eldeen actually have physical bodies made of white Emelos. Is what lets them be immortal and have tons of power.
Cool.
So,
meeting statues.
all right. So Ernst explains that his ancestors, the Clan of Darkness, wanted to create white and black Emelos. But the Eldeen lied to them. They told them how to make it, but they lied to them, and all they got was some garbage Ash Emelos. Ash Emelos is really unstable, and it doesn't work very well. Ash Emelos is also used to create Galbalans.
Fuck.
What the fuck?
Galbalan is a creature of Ash Emelos who came to Felghana after it had gained sentience.
What the fuck?
It also attracts monsters and demons and stuff.
How do
Alright.
you make Ash Emelos?
Wait.
By trying to make white Emelos and failing.
How do you make them white?
I don't know.
Gains sentience?
Yeah, Galbalans are supposed to be like potless monsters, but for whatever reason, the Galbalan in Redmont, in Felghana, for some reason could think on its own. We don't know why.
That's
I mean,
horrifying.
it kind of makes sense that they gain sentience. If the Eldeen are beings of white Emelos, and you fail to make a proper being of white Emelos into Ash Emelos, it makes sense that it likewise could gain sentience.
Holy shit, this is awesome.
This is really cool.
I can't wait till it's dropped forever.
The only thing
Anyway,
that doesn't
why
make sense
does
is that
Africa
black
exist?
Emelos doesn't.
I don't know, man. So
Black Emelos.
Ernst is
Day
like,
ruined.
and then Ernst explains why we're all here. So he says, all right, so the Ark of Nepishtim is activated by a black key. My sword, Almerian. So he uses his sword and Isha's spiritual being, soul, I guess, to give himself dark wings and magical powers, equivalent to the Eldeen.
Oh my god.
Become a god.
So since he has dark wings, does this imply that the guy from 4 is also, his bad personality is also some
I
sort of weird
looked
mad
this
genius?
up, and it's just a dark personality.
They ruined.
Dodge
Day
is stupid.
ruined.
Because that would be so cool.
In any
It's
case.
just super easy to put in.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, just say yes.
But in any case, Ernst explains to Adel that his normal mortal fleshy body couldn't take all this power, but because he has Isha there, he can. So that's why he took her.
Okay.
So she's essentially like a capacitor or something
She has some sort of spiritual ability that makes it so that Ernst can
Like a stabilizer.
can use the power without killing himself. So
Like a
Adel
fortress protector.
defeats him sort of in a fight. Like he gets him to the point where he's frustrated and weakened, and so he basically knocks him out. And then he's like, he saves Isha. He gives Isha to Geese, I think, and Isha and Geese leave. And then before they do that, Ernst.
Geese died, right?
No, Geese was harmed outside. He's not dead though. He's actually a main character in 7 too. But Geese is like, okay. So he was harmed, but he's not dead. So they talk to Ernst as he's dying, and Ernst is like, I'm not going down like a bitch. And so he activates the Ark of Nepishtim again, and is like, give me all your power. Immediately killed. He's immediately shot from I want all the power to on the floor, almost dead. He explains to Ernst that he was just trying to fulfill their ancestors' dream, even though their ancestors are called the Clan of Darkness. They're a bunch of fuckers.
What is the Ark?
The Ark of Nepishtim is a weather control system created by the Eldeen to protect Eldeen.
That's it?
Yes.
It's a.
Oh, you think weather's just
Wait. This is what Obama has?
No.
It's off the coast of Africa.
So the Eldeen, So Ernst explains that he was just trying to fulfill his ancestors' destiny, and then he reluctantly gives Geese all 3 of his fairies or whatever. Kind gesture. Ernst dies. Fun fact about Ernst, there's a girl named Frida that you meet in East 4 who I mentioned had a fairy. It's implied that they were meant to get married, but because Ernst went off the deep end, she stopped the wedding. Sad shit. And so I think Geese is even somewhat mentioned in Memories of Silsada. Anyway.
Divorced him before they're even married.
Yeah. It's still sad though.
Cucked so hard that you get divorced before you even marry.
All right. So Ernst dies, and his Black Emloss sword was broken when he was trying to take all that power into himself. There's no more key to the Ark of Nepishtim, so it goes into auto mode. Auto mode decides humans aren't really cool, and I want to get rid of all of them. It starts creating a massive tidal wave to destroy the east or the west coast of Eurasia. Like, it's basically gonna take away Spain if Spain was real.
Stone.
I mean, that's
But
big.
this is like fucking sick and awesome.
Yeah, so it was meant to protect the Eldine, but yeah, it's gonna destroy basically the west coast.
And then all that's gonna be left is Rosha.
And no one wants to be in Rosha.
It's shittier than real.
What about
Russia.
Odali?
Who the fuck cares about Olili, honestly?
But in any
What about
case,
Gross?
Ah, damn it, you're right.
so in any case, I'll also mention that because the Clan of Darkness had intended to, they fought against the Eldine because they wanted to know how to make Black Emelos, and because they were trying to control the Ark of Nepishtim with Ash Emelos instead of White or Black Emelos, it ended up causing the Great Vortex and sinking most of Canaan down into the sea.
Holy fuck.
It's fucking sick.
So that's what.
So wait, like the Canaan Islands are just like the tops of mountains?
I love that.
This is
shit.
so cool.
That's so cool.
That's cool. I love that.
all
I'm
right,
hogging in real life.
all right.
It's fucking IRL.
All right, so it's gonna cause. So basically, it's all gonna cause a tsunami,
Oh no.
and so Adol fights the Ark of Nepishtim for real, no meme. Okay, moving forward. So with the Ark of Nepishtim destroyed, it all like explodes in this white, and sort of like this white explosion. Adol is briefly saved by implied Alma's spirit. In any case, Adol awakes on the beach again. Go.
Sorry, I think I missed it. What caused the destruction of the Ark?
Adol.
He fought it.
Adol destroyed it.
His ass.
He went to the top. The Ark is like, Europans need to go away. And Adol's like, not on my watch, motherfucker. And so
Gosh, why is Adol so cool?
he does not my favorite moment. Not my favorite Adol moment. We gotta get to 7.
He keeps saving humanity and no one's fucking appreciative. The Romans are a bunch of assholes.
Alright, so Adol awakens on the shore. He stays for a couple days, but ultimately the boy has to go back to his adventuring. So he leaves the readings, and the Canaan Islands no longer have a vortex. So everyone can trade.
What about like the attack by the Romans and stuff? Is that like...
Oh, all the ships were destroyed.
Oh.
All three of them?
All
And
three
they
of them.
never came back.
No witnesses.
No witness.
I only saw 3 ships. That's why I'm counting them. I didn't want to count them at all because Adol doesn't use any of those ships.
Too bad.
In any case, moving forward. All right, E7. Adol finally gets to go to Altago.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers Adol wanted to go to Altago at the very beginning of the story, but he had to stop because of Rom and Altago were at war. The war has ended.
Yeah.
Scipio and
did-
Hannibal.
Yeah.
Hootable.
So the war has ended, meaning Adol can now freely go into Altago. All right. Let's talk
Scorpio
about Altago.
after
You don't have a ton of time.
All right. So he arrives on boat. He manages to see a fleet of Dragon Knights, which are the Altago military force. They don't bother him. He lands on the island safely. We
Damn
win.
it.
So, oh, fuck! Stop doing that. Okay. So, you meet two little girls. You meet 2 girls. One is smaller. One is Adol's age, and they're being bothered by some Dragon Knights who are basically asking the older girl to go on a date with him, and if she doesn't, he's going to make her stop selling flowers. So Adol and go.
Like Aerith from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, they sell flowers. Yeah, like Aerith. So
And it's E7.
yeah, it's E7. Yeah. So they stop. So Adol and Dogi basically immediately get into trouble with the local military by basically stopping this like fucking abuse of power from happening. So Dogi and Adol are almost thrown into jail.
Which makes
Or no, they are thrown into jail. They take Adol's sword. They take everything from them, and then
There's like walls.
and then the king asks for them specifically. The king says, "Hey, I heard from Laddock, the one-eyed pirate, who we had met in Xandria and who piloted the ship in 6. Well, he had messaged me letting me know who you are. I'm cool with you guys being here. In fact, I
trust this pirate.
Well, yeah, they're friends or something.
How many governments? Let's be honest. In the ancient world, how many governments didn't work with pirates?
Most of them.
Anyway.
Privateering,
Magnus has a
baby.
point. Magnus has a point.
Anyway, so he's like, hey, there's some ruins that we just found. It doesn't seem to be anything in there, but I don't trust my dudes. Can you go find it? You're an adventurer, right? You want to find some cool ruins.
You're not a citizen of our country.
Yeah, and they think
You don't have rights,
The
bitch.
only reason Adol and Dogi are thrown into jail immediately outside of bothering a Dragon Knight is because he basically calls them enemies of the state. Because he's like, oh, you must be Roman spies. And they're like, we're just stopping you from bothering a little girl. And he's like, you must be Roman spies. Go.
So the Altagans are also assholes?
No, just that Dragon Knight specifically. You need Dragon Knights who are nice.
I was about to say, the Romans are assholes,
I
pseudo-Carthage is
think I
assholes.
speak for everyone, Magnus. All Dragon Knights are bastards.
Not all of them.
Name one good Dragon Knight.
You meet one named Sabrina or something.
All right, go on.
Continue with your lecture, I'm sorry.
All right. So, you get told by Commander Sias, another nice dragon knight, who's like, hey, so every weapon in Altago is made of this, has this property to it that we call Big Dragon Energy. It's actually just Dragon Energy, but I'm going to call it Big Dragon Energy for comedic purposes for the rest of this lecture.
I do like funny stuff.
So
Why I'm here.
So Adol, so this basically just translates to a charge mechanic where you can hold your attack button and then release it later. But in any case, so you use this Dragon Energy, you go to the ruins, you touch this like weird statue, and it all gets like massive big dick power. And so like there are these things called Titanos on Altago that are just massive, powerful monsters. And one, like Adol and Dogi literally just can't kill. And then the moon shrine that he touched gives him power and gives him a super move that just insta-kills it.
Oh, alright.
Okay. All right, so they come back and they report their findings. They talk to the flower girl, by the way, is named Tia, and she has a little sister named Maya. And so they talk to them. They talk to the king. The king's like, "Hey, that sounds a little weird. You might be given a different kind of dragon energy, because dragon energy is more of like part of. There's a dragon energy that's part of the world, and then there's dragon energy that comes from the dragons." So the king's like, you probably have the second one. And so Dogi rightfully says, also Dogi's playable and he hangs out for the whole game. So Dogi's like, of course this happens to Adol. This happens every week to Adol. Why does this keep happening?
Cucked again.
Does Dogi ever not get cucked?
Yeah.
So does that mean that the number of walls crushed franchise-wide is entirely player-dependent by Game 7?
No, you don't actually get the ability to crush any walls in 7. You don't get the ability to. There is a wall crushed, but we'll talk about that when we get there. It follows the best moment. So you go to a forest, a desert place, and a wind tribe, and you talk to their elders about getting dragon energy. You go through a dungeon and get dragon energy. So as you keep getting this big dragon energy, you also meet up with Geese again. So Geese is here from E6, and he's like, "Hey, it's been 6 months. You want to fight?" And so you guys spar for a bit. Adol still beats him. But Geese is like, "It's nice seeing you, Adol. I'll see you later." Oh, it's also established that Geese invaded the palace where the king lives, so he's been kind of fucking around a little bit.
So he is the enemy of the state.
Geese, kind of.
But the state
around.
The Afrocan state is confirmed to be just kind of bitches. So
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
kind of bitches.
anyway, so they're like, okay, so we found, and so you learn more about the dragons. There's 5 of them, and they each have a different like provenance on the land. So there's a sea dragon, there's an earth dragon, there's a wind dragon, there's a fire dragon, and there's a moon dragon. And so you sort of learn about all of them, and you gain some new powers through them. One of them is the power to teleport, which the game acknowledges that you have like fast travel, which was really weird. Like Dogi's like, "Oh, we can just warp there." It's like, How do you know that, dude?
is weird.
never in any other game I've played is like, oh yeah, you can fast travel. But it's a canonic. It's canon that Adol just has that power at this point. There's also this thing called Iskon fever, which has been affecting a lot of the Altiginians or something.
Gosh.
But it's been affecting the people of Altago. Like, it's this fever that's incurable and makes you weak and tired. And the only way to heal it is through really expensive medication. One of the major aspects of that medication, the expensive part, is called the Scarlet Crystal. Maya gets Iskon fever, the little girl.
Aww.
It's incurable too, so you're just going to die. And so as she gets Iskon fever,
I love my escapist fiction.
as she gets Iskon fever, you go to the guy who's hoarding all the Scarlet Crystals, and he's like, "Shut the fuck up!"
Sorry.
This is why he's called Adol the Red.
AIDS. Anyway,
Choke you.
so
I'd like to see you try, little man.
So you meet the guy that has caused this disease. Who?
no, his name is Zanzibar. Oh no, he doesn't cause the disease. He doesn't cause the disease. Zanzibar holds all of the Scarlet Crystals local to Altago City, the main city of the game, and so he's
Martin Skrelly.
So he's like, so the reason Zanzibar is actually profitable, is actually like has a ton of money, is because he's been hoarding all of the Scarlet Crystals and selling them at an incredible markup.
I love my escapist fiction.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Like, and Scarlet Crystals are already rare, so it's not like they're not rare, but the fact that he's selling them at a markup is fucked up. So you go to him anyway, and you're like, hey,
what if modern drug prices were the actual price and they were marked up again? What if it was?
I love my escapist fiction. Keep going.
so they decide.
I love fantasy insulin.
So they decide to like ask him for help, and he's like, "Yeah, you have to sell me a house though. That's how much it costs." And so Adol and Dogi are like, "What the fuck, dude?" Dogi specifically says, "Hey, a little girl from Old Town is dying, and we need help." Old Town is kind of like the shitty part of Altago City, and then Zanzibar is like, "Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm just not going to give it to you anyway, even if you did have the money. Everyone from Old Town should be dead."
Oh my god.
It really is.
Dogi very nearly punches this man in the face, and we can see what he does to walls. Go.
Can we add a number of balls crushed?
Well, it'd be 0 forever.
Damn it.
But, yeah, Dogi nearly kills Zanzibar, almost assuredly. But Adol and the Princess Aisha, who's been joining you a little bit for this, stop him from doing so. Whatever. Go.
Just a side thing, that's kind of cool because Dogi was one of the bandits that specifically attacked rich people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
He's
sense.
also a little thick, so he doesn't like think through his actions. So it's
Thick
very,
in what way? In which way?
He's
Yes.
like his brain.
Yes.
Cock is fat.
Whoa.
He's not very smart. He doesn't think through his actions
All
very
the
often.
blood goes to his cock instead of
No, it goes in his hands so he can crush walls.
All right, so you end up finding Scarlet.
Hands.
You end up finding more Scarlet Crystal underneath the town in like the waterways, and so you end up healing Maya for a time, and then moving forward.
Fantasy insulin.
All right.
I guess it's kind of like fantasy.
So, all right. So then they go to a sea where the sea shrine is, which is on this island of ruins called Ruin Island. And so they go there. Whoa.
Oh yeah, there's like super high winds today.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
windy.
Okay. So
Hey.
it all goes to Ruin Island. Are we hitting time?
Keep going.
Okay. Adol goes to Ruin Island, and he learns that, and he meets Geese there. He helps them through all the sea shit. It is implied that the people. So the reason that like they're experiencing all these calamities is because there's been an imbalance. There aren't people worshiping the moon dragon or the sea dragon anymore, and so because those have fallen out. The whole nature of the world is starting to fall apart. Of Altago specifically. Of Altago.
All worship you, Moon Dragon.
And so
those sound like the 2 coolest dragons.
and so
No, I'm good.
and so you go to the sea dragon's place, you're like, hey, You get your stuff. It is implied that the people beforehand had switched to another god right before they left. You find a mark of them when you're there, which is actually there's some cool stuff with that, but I won't get into it right now. All right. When they go to the Sea Dragon Shrine, they're told that the set of calamities are called the Wind of Destruction.
Fucking sick.
And they also tell Adol that he has the title of Dragon Warrior, and so he is given the responsibility to stop the Wind of Destruction. However, each dragon, when they mention it, just talk about it like it's inevitable. Like there's no way Adol could win. And they're still giving him his powers. Weird. So,
let's just keep pumping this guy full of the magic juice.
It feels like he gets like a bunch of...
This dude at this point has stopped like 2 genocides and a fucking tsunami.
And he's still not done. So, Altago City is starting to hit a fever pitch where the Prime Minister has decided to destroy Old Town. Let me see, actually. Wait, sorry. I went way too ahead.
And this went from like an epic fantasy to like a crushingly like classist, like fucking like why did he even want to go here in the first place? It's shit.
All right, so honestly, as they're leaving the Ruin Island, the Dragon Knights show up and they're immediately like, "Hey, Adol, our king is dead, and you were the last one with him. We need to kill you."
It'll be like bad.
So they lock Adol up and throw him into prison. And so because of how Altago works, this is how execution by death goes in a Colosseum.
Hell yeah!
Adol is locked in a prison, tortured for implied like days. He's tortured for days, past the point where most men would die, and then he gets out, and they're like, okay, so we're going to kill you in this Colosseum. We're going to send a Titano after you, and he's going to kill you. The only thing that we're going to give you is this shitty sword and this shitty shield. Good luck.
If I know one thing about Adol.
Dragon energy, bro.
So Adol is thrown into the Colosseum, and he destroys the Titano. People are impressed.
What is Titano?
Oh, I mentioned it earlier. They're just basically big monsters. Oh. They're supposed to live underground, but for whatever reason, the Wind of Destruction and all the calamities causing them to move up.
Okay. Sorry.
But anyway, Adol fights a Titano and wins. And so as he beats it, everyone's like, what the fuck? No one's supposed to beat those things. You're supposed to die. And so Adol's like, oh, I won. And then as he wins... Dogi and Geese are let out of their prison.
Yes!
And Dogi crushes a drawbridge, which I count as a wall.
It is just it's variably a wall.
Yeah, he crushes
a variable wall
I
energy.
agree that it should count as a wall.
It should count as a wall. Good job. All right, so Geese and Dogi basically save him. The Geese leads them to the Moon Tribe, which is hidden on like a plane in between planes. And then they basically tell him, you have to go back to the other shrines and awaken the dragons. Adol's like, okay, I'll do that. So he awakens the rest of the dragons, and of course, JRPG, you awaken dragons by fighting them. And so, and then finally, as he gets to the last dragon, the Moon Dragon, he finally explains to him, okay, so this is how it works. Altago is going to fall out of balance. We've accepted this fact as reality. So because Altago falls out of balance, whenever it happens, we just reset everything. It's called the Wind of Destruction. Now, we don't feel very good about doing that, so we want to give humanity a representative, the Dragon Warrior, you. And so, because you're a representative of Altago and humanity in general, we want to give you a fair fighting chance. So we give you our powers. We don't think you're going to win, but we gave you our powers so that you might be able to. Cool on you dragons, fucking assholes. So,
Hey, in their defense, if I was like, dude, this thing is gonna be inevitable, the coolest thing you could do is like, hey, let's pump all of our assets into this one dude so he can be super fucking epic, and it can be awesome.
Also, after seeing what Zanzibar does, it's hard not to agree with the dragons.
Yeah.
Honestly?
Yeah.
So
Altago City gets covered in a miasma, which makes people sick. As you go there, you learn that Commander Sias is basically subverting the whole country. He killed the king, and he's fucking everything up.
Who would have guessed?
Who could have guessed?
I wouldn't have. I didn't. That was a surprise to me. He's a nice guy throughout the rest of the game, but like at that moment, he becomes a villain. Also, the flower girl you meet, Tia, is actually the descendant of the previous elder of the Moon Tribe that worshipped the Moon Dragon.
Who would have guessed?
And so Tia is supposed to fulfill the destiny of the Moon Dragon and basically stop you from winning.
I'm glad we find all these characters who are all related
All right.
or descended from people who were important.
I mean, that's
No matter how we
fantasy
meet
goes.
them.
All right.
That's
So
how-
They're like, I'm a flower girl and I'm being abused by the police. Also, I am essential to the prophecy. Please take me with you.
I'm kind of fucking necessary here.
no, Tia Luna is your enemy. Full name is Tia Luna, and she's your enemy.
Oh, what?
She's trying to kill you. She represents the dragons, and she basically wants the world to start over. So you go over, you defeat Commander Sias, and then you talk to Tia, and she's like, I didn't want to do it, but when Maya got Iskon fever, I basically pulled the plug. I was done. And so
Sad.
she rushed through things. She even killed innocent civilians trying to rush through things.
Fuck.
So
Yeah, imagine killing innocent civilians while trying to bring on the destruction of everything.
yeah. So Adol and the group fight her and beat her, and then there's this thing called the Root of the World that they also have to fight and beat. It basically causes all the calamities to happen. They beat it. Then the dragons are like, "Cool, man. You guys are on your own now, though. So if you guys don't hold things in balance, it will just naturally fall apart." But Iskon fever is cured. It is solved. No one has it anymore. Everything's calmed down in Altago for now. The game ends with Aisha, a princess who'd been following you for most of the game, writing a journal entry about how everyone's doing okay now, and that Adol had gone away with Dogi for another adventure. Go.
So, like, when I heard about East, I just kind of expected, gonna fight some fantasy stuff, save some people, see some cool,
That's exactly
cool
what happened.
magic stuff. But instead, it's more of like, oh no, there's like all these eldritch entities that exist on this planet, and they all seek the end of humanity
well,
due to
alright.
their hubris. It's like, it's way cooler than I thought it would be.
I always thought it's when I first heard of East, I was like in middle school, and I'm like, want to know what I bet this is? I bet this is exactly like Final Fantasy, but fucking hipster weebs say it's better, but it actually is better. So I am sorry.
When
to
I
you.
first heard of East, it was like 4 hours ago.
So, East 9 came out. It's called Monstrum Nox. As far as I can tell, the plot of the story is that it all turns into like a weird monster thing, but it's not out yet, so I didn't play it. But that's all of East. Any further questions?
Why is Adol called Adol the Red, other than red hair? How
No,
did
that's
he get
it.
that title?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah,
I thought it got it an official title.
You said the dragons fucked off? Like they're just gone?
Yeah, the dragons are no longer necessary to keep Altago in balance, so they left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. They got
So-
better places
so
to
they just left Adol to keep the balance?
No, they left the people of Altago to keep the balance because Adol has to fuck off.
And those guys have been shown to be super competent and nice, good people.
Some of them are nice, good people.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Most of the people in Altago are actually really nice, but yeah, I know. Anything else? Let me see if I missed anything.
What happened to Chester?
Chester's dead.
No, he kept doing that because the goo monsters.
Galbalan, the creature that you fight in East Oath and Felghana, is created from Ash Emelas. So technically, Adol should not have been able to defeat it, but they managed to.
Can we get a quick, just in a summation, because all of his fucking awesome moments were kind of peppered in over a whole fucking presentation. So just summarize all the bad shit that Adol does real quick.
So he defeats Darkfact in 1, who is one of the most powerful sorcerers in the series. In 2, he literally defeats Cainfact, who's also the Black Pearl.
Who has the ability to shift continents.
Yeah. And so in 4, he beats Eldeal, who is an Eldeen. He doesn't kill him, but he does defeat Eldeal, who is an Eldeen, and Gruda, who is powered by the Mask of the Sun and the Akashic Records. In Oath and Felghana, he beats Galbalan, who's a creature that can only be killed using Emelos with normal weapons. In 5, he basically saves the whole kingdom that was lost to time. In 8, he stops the extinction of humanity.
For the first time.
For the first time. In 6, he stops an ancient piece of technology from destroying most of Europe here. And then in 7, he stops Otago from getting destroyed by its own hubris by defeating dragons and being considered a prisoner and an enemy of the state for most of the game.
All right. By the way, all that happened in what, 7 years?
Yeah. This is over the course of, 6 years? This might be 9 years later. 9.
Damn. Cool. All right. Thank you, Jacob.
First one done.
I'm gonna remember none of this in a year.